starting by showing Tobirama Senju a summary of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176 New Clone Experiment. When Black Zetsu was about to make trouble, the Third Hokage once again welcomed Senju, Tobirama and others who had traveled through time. Here, this is what you want. In the Hokage's office, the young Danzo handed a small paper bag to the fifth Jiraiya with a stinky face. There was a small bottle of Danzo's blood in it, as well as some of his body tissues such as dandruff and hair. Hehe, then I thank Elder Danzo. No, I'm not the elder of your time and space, don't call me the wrong way. The fifth Jiraiya's address almost made Danzo jump. He had already determined to be a good person, and he didn't want to have anything to do with the Danzo of this time and space. This was also part of the reason why he didn't want to give the fifth Jiraiya his body tissues. When he thought that he and the scapegoat who did all the bad things were the same person, he felt very disgusted. By the way, where is Obito? Hasn't he gone to find Rin in the past few days? No. The Third Hokage understood Senju Tobirama's desire to find Obito. The Moon Eye plan really needs to be clarified. The person who knows the plan most clearly is Obito. In this regard, they are eager to meet Obito and ask him about the plan. Unfortunately, Obito was frightened by Kushina's rage that day, and he didn't come to Konoha to find Lin for more than 20 days. It is conceivable that Kushina has a great deterrent power in the heart of Obito, who has gradually changed. By the way, why is there no Shinigami among the people who came this time? When talking to Senju Tobirama through the light curtain, the Third Hokage and others had already seen the resurrected Senju Hashirama. They originally thought that the Shinigami would come with Senju Tobirama, and they just happened to ask about the resurrection of them in this time and space, and wanted to hear his opinion. Unexpectedly, Senju Hashirama did not come this time, which made them a little regretful. I didn't let him come. Ah? Why? You didn't hide the resurrection of the fourth Hokage and others? Senju Tobirama did not answer directly, but asked a question instead. Yes. Well, I can understand your idea of doing this, but if my eldest brother comes here, if he is discovered by the spies in the village, the situation on your side may become very chaotic. The Third Hokage and others heard it and thought that it seemed to be true. They already knew that Kumagaku and Iwagaku had many contacts in private, and everyone knew why. If they knew that Konoha had resurrected Senju Hashirama, I'm afraid that Sand Village and Mist Village would also form an alliance with Kumagaku and Iwagaku. Because Konoha's lineup is too terrifying, if they don't unite again, then the entire ninja world will be controlled by Konoha. Among the top leaders of the four major ninja villages, only Othnuki has seen Uchiha Madara take action. He may have some fear of Senju Hashirama, the legendary ninja who once defeated Uchiha Madara. But other ninjas who have not seen the strength of Hashirama and Madara will not think so much. Ignorance is fearless, and perhaps the fourth ninja world war will start early. But the Senju Hashirama who appeared in Konoha was not from this time and space. If they really fought, Konoha would be very embarrassed. Rather than having such an embarrassing thing happen, it would be better not to let Senju Hashirama come in the first place. Even if Iwagaku and Kumagaku want to attack Konoha, Konoha can handle it with its current strength. Then we want to revive the first generation and Tobirama sensei of this time and space. Will you object? I think you have made a mistake. I and the Senju Tobirama of this time and space are actually two independent individuals. You ask me for my opinion. It would be better for him to come out and ask his own opinion. Thinking of the stupid look of the second generation Hokage who came out of the impure world when Orochimaru was planning the collapse of Konoha, Senju Tobirama refused to admit that they were the same person. Perhaps they are still the same person in essence, just in time. But after being baptized by the light curtain, he is different from the Senju Tobirama of this time and space in terms of thought. There is a level difference here. Okay, time is precious, everyone can move freely. Seeing that the Third Hokage and others had nothing else to do, Senju Tobirama began to call Orochimaru to the laboratory. They had new ideas for cloning technology that needed to be tested. Let's go, there's no fun to watch. Let's go shopping and buy snacks. In addition to Danzo, the other people who had traveled through time also wanted to see how the fifth Jiraiya would interrogate the resurrected old Danzo. But seeing that Tobirama had already taken Orochimaru to the laboratory, without someone who could perform the resurrection technique, naturally they would not be able to see the scene of the resurrection of Danzo. This was a pity for Okimichi Tofu and others, because there was no fun to watch. But it made the young Danzo sigh at his good luck, because he didn't have to die. Adding cells of other bloodline limits to the body of the clone is undoubtedly feasible, but it will be much more difficult. In a laboratory not far from the Hokage's office building, Orochimaru took out a copy of the experimental record from the drawer and gave it to Senju Tobirama. Senju Tobirama frowned as he finished reading the record, then said, "Where do you think the difficulty lies?" "Of course it's the conflict between cells." After that, Orochimaru let Senju Tobirama to a clone and continued, "Take this clone for example. I added the cells of the gecko family's Tokuten and the cells of the corpse bone vein into it, and you saw the result. In the glass jar, this clone with 2 bloodline limits can no longer be considered a humanoid creature. He has 2 heads deformedly, and the bones of his ribs have penetrated the flesh and exposed to the outside. What's more, the buttocks of this clone are not the left and right halves of a normal person, but the upper and lower halves. Such a physiological structure will make a popping sound when going up and down the stairs. It's very embarrassing. By the way, second generation master, how is the research on the Earth Garage? No progress." Senju Tobirama shook his head, took out a small bottle from his pocket and handed it to Orochimaru. "Here, these 2 threads are from the earthly blasting you. If you're interested, you can study them yourself." "I'm indeed very interested." Orochimaru took the small bottle containing the earthly blasting U's black threads and subconsciously called Kabata. After calling out, he remembered that he had already sent Kabata to the Raichi cave. More than a week had passed, and there was no news about Kabata. It was unknown whether he had been eaten by the 3 snake princesses under the seat of the White Snake Immortal, or whether he was quietly practicing immortal arts. I hope Kabata can succeed. In this way, he would have new experimental materials. Chapter 177. The expanding Danzo. At midnight, the bustling Konoha village also fell into immersion. The villagers fell asleep early, waiting to welcome the arrival of tomorrow as the better spirit. At this time, in a laboratory outside the village, Orochimaru, the Third Hokage, the 5th Jiraiya, Namikaze Minato and others were preparing to use the impure world reincarnation technique to summon Shinguru Danzo. Are we too impatient? Originally, according to the 5th Jiraiya's plan, he would wait until Orochimaru made a clone of Danzo before summoning Danzo. After questioning the other party, it would be a good opportunity to kill him to vent his anger. Unexpectedly, the Third Hokage had a different idea. The situation in the ninja world is changing rapidly. We did not deliberately conceal the resurrection of Minato and others, which led to the fact that Kumagakure and Iwagakure are about to form an alliance. Once they take action against Konoha, can you be sure that Akatsuki will not intervene? The Third Hokage's worry is also reasonable. Konoha knows how terrifying Akatsuki is, but the people of these 2 ninja villages do not know. They only knew that Akatsuki was an organization composed of rebellious ninjas and could be hired. With Konoha's intelligence network, the Third Hokage knew that Ofunuki, the Tsuchikage of Iwagakure, had hired Akatsuki to do things more than once or twice. If they were really ready to go to war with Konoha, Akatsuki would also be a point that needed to be guarded against. The sooner we know more about Akatsuki, especially the intelligence about the leader of the organization, Nagato, the sooner we know, the more we can calmly deal with possible adverse situations. Okay, old man, you're right. The 5th Hokage Jiraiya was persuaded by the 3rd Hokage and agreed to revive Shinguru Danzo right now. Orochimaru, let's start. No problem. Licking his lips, Orochimaru began to make hand seals. Amid the wailing of the death row prisoners, the old version of Shinguru Danzo's revived body appeared in front of everyone. Orochimaru, to prevent him from resisting, cast a spell on him. Orochimaru chuckled and replied, "No need. In addition to experimenting with clones, I have also improved the impure world reincarnation. So now I can control the impure world body even without the spell." Orochimaru had been secretly improving the impure world reincarnation since the Konoha collapse plan. But he was just one person, and there were many things to consider. Before there was a clear direction, his improvement efficiency for the impure world reincarnation was very slow. Fortunately, there was the light curtain. After learning that Kabata Yakushi had summoned many dead ninjas using the impure world reincarnation and could control them without the spell, Orochimaru suddenly got an inspiration. It took less than a month to successfully improve the impure world reincarnation. However, because the time was too short, he only improved the control of the impure world body. The strength of the impure world body was not as strong as the impure world body summoned by Kabata Yakushi during the Fourth War. At best, it was only a little stronger than the Konoha collapse plan period. But this was enough, and it did not delay him from summoning Danzo. Is this the Pure Land? After getting Orochimaru's answer, the third Hokage did not insist, and nodded to let Orochimaru wake up Danzo. When Danzo opened his eyes, he saw the deceased fourth Hokage and his wife. Turning his head, he saw Hatake Sekuma, who was also dead. The third Hokage lived for so long, it was normal for him to die. He was just a little confused. If this was the Pure Land, why did the surroundings look so familiar? Also, why were Jiraiya and Orochimaru also in the Pure Land? Did they die too? This is not a Pure Land. You are dead, but we are not. Thinking of the disgusting things Danzo had done, the fifth Jiraiya had an urge to kill him. Under the influence of such emotions, his attitude towards Danzo can be imagined. So, this is Konoha. Yes, this is Konoha. Look around here. Does it look familiar? This is the laboratory you sponsored me in the past. Hearing Orochimaru's words, Danzo nodded, and he knew why he was familiar with this place. With the buffer time of these few words, Danzo also reacted that he was reborn by the impure world reincarnation. What do you want to summon me for? Don't say you miss me or something like that. I might vomit after hearing that. Yes, Danzo, I really miss you. I want to kill you. Really, the fifth generation Jiraiya showed Danzo a malicious smile, and the words he said were full of malice. In this regard, Danzo was not afraid, and snorted coldly and said, "There are many people who want to kill me. Who do you think you are? Also, I'm dead now. What can you do to me? I'm now an impure world body. I have no feelings, but I am still immortal. What can you do to me?" No feelings means that ordinary punishments and abuses have lost their effect on him. Therefore, Danzo, who was reborn by the impure world reincarnation, was not afraid of Jiraiya's threats at all. Old man, I think with Danzo's attitude he will definitely not cooperate with us obediently, so we might as well wait a month. The third Hokage shook his head and said, "Let's try first." After that, as Jiraiya shook his head and sighed, the third Hokage asked Danzo, "Old buddy, we have something to ask you." "Old buddy?" "Haha, why do I feel it's so ironic to hear this word coming out of your mouth?" Danzo sneered and continued, "I'm dead, and everything in my life has nothing to do with me anymore. No matter what you want to ask, I won't tell you." Seeing Danzo's attitude, the third Hokage had to say patiently, "Danzo, things are not as simple as you think. If you don't cooperate with us, some bad things may happen later. After all, they are old friends for many years." In addition, the third Hokage of this time was old and soft-hearted, so he still didn't want to see Danzo's miserable end. "Bad things? Ha ha ha, what a joke. Do you think I'm still afraid of these? Danzo. Danzo is dead, you chose him, sand me. Listen to my advice, just cooperate with us and tell us what we want to know, otherwise you'll regret it." "Shut up, Hiruzen, I'm the fire now." "Well, I'm the one who holds the initiative." Relying on the fact that his impure world body has no feeling, Danzo has been inflated to the limit. He feels that he has nothing to fear. Even if the third Hokage and others torture him with dripping wax, whipping, riding a wooden horse, etc. He doesn't care. Anyway, he has no feeling. What's there to be afraid of? A tree without bark will die, and a person without shame will be invincible. If the situation did not allow it, Danzo would want to shout to the sky, "I'm already invincible." Chapter 178. Danzo wants to resurrect. Everyone present felt a little uncomfortable looking at Danzo's fearless face. Danzo's attitude made it seem as if they were the villains. Obviously, this guy is a big villain who does all kinds of evil, but he makes himself look like a righteous person who would rather die than surrender. The most important thing is that in Danzo's unyielding look, there is also some pride. You are fucking crazy. You are just a dead person who was brought out of the impure world by them. Why are you so proud? Danzo's non-cooperation made the third Hokage completely give up the idea of helping him. "I thought that we have been partners for many years after all, and I wanted to help you, but you don't appreciate it." The third Hokage shook his head and sighed, looking very disappointed. "Come on, is it any use giving me a hand at this time? Not to mention once, it will be useless even if you give me a few more times." "Don't talk nonsense, the one who gives you a hand is a brother, and the one who gives you a few times may be someone else." "Hiruzen, do you want to listen to what you are saying? It's already this time, and you are still telling me dirty jokes. I just saw that the atmosphere was a bit stiff, so I wanted to lighten it up." The third Hokage curled his lips, and seeing that no one reacted, he simply took out his beloved little pipe, puffed on the smoke, and stood aside without saying anything. "Danzo, do you know why the Minato couple and Sekuma are standing here?" Danzo glanced at Jiraiya, who was speaking with disdain, and said, "Although I don't know what you were doing, the people standing in front of me are definitely not the Ondami couple and Seikumo." "Oh? Why are you so sure? Are you a fool? The Ondami couple and Seikumo have been dead for a long time, and their bodies have long turned into a pile of bones. Now you tell me that the three of them are the real people? What a joke. There are no cracks of the impure world body on their faces. Don't tell me that they were resurrected by you." "You said this, and your guess is really accurate." "Ha ha ha, Jiraiya, it seems that your brain is really broken. I have been the leader of the root for so many years, how could I not know whether Konoha has a resurrection technique? Looking at the appearance of Hiruzen and you, it should not be too long since I died, right? Well, only a few months. In just a few months, you have developed a resurrection technique that can really revive the dead. Ha ha, I'm just dead, not stupid. Even if you want to lie to me, you should find a better reason, right? With this reason, not to mention that I don't believe it, even my dog won't believe it." Although Danzo said so, he was also observing the expressions of the people around him while talking to Jiraiya. Seeing that the expressions of the Third Hokage, Orochimaru and others were very normal, without even a trace of embarrassment, shame, etc. Danzo's voice became smaller and smaller. After a little silence, Danzo asked with a slightly hoarse voice, "So you really invented the resurrection technique?" "Strictly speaking, it was not invented by us, but by the second generation over there. Orochimaru did not dare to take the credit alone. Whether it was the impure world reincarnation or the soul extraction technique, they were all created by Senju Tobirama. The key technology of cloning was also inspired by Senju Tobirama after he asked about the light curtain video up. In the matter of completing the resurrection technique, Orochimaru only accounted for 30% of the credit at most, and the remaining 70% was all due to Senju Tobirama. "Oh, right, I forgot that you can contact Tobirama through the light curtain." Danzo was a little resentful of Senju Tobirama in his heart for the fact that the Third Hokage was Sarutobi Hiruzen instead of himself. He felt that even if he was slower than Sarutobi Hiruzen to express his attitude at the beginning, as a teacher, couldn't he give himself another chance? However, even if he complained, he still recognized and admired Tobirama's ability. Hehe, just believe it. Seeing that Danzo believed this fact, the fifth generation Jiraiya continued. "Do you want us to revive you? Not a fake resurrection like the impure world body, but a real resurrection like Minato and others. Who would want to die if they can be resurrected?" Of course Danzo wanted to be resurrected, but at the same time he also understood that with what he had done, the people in front of him would definitely not let him be truly and perfectly resurrected. Judging from one's own experience, even if they want to revive him, these people will definitely add some ingredients during the process of reviving him, so that he will not have the strength he had before, and his lifespan will most likely be greatly reduced. But even so, even if he can only live for another 1 or 2 years, he still wants to be resurrected. Suppressing his excitement, Shimura Danzo looked at Jiraiya and asked expressionlessly, "Okay, tell me your conditions." "Our conditions are very simple. We just want to ask how you died, who killed you, and what kind of abilities the other party has. As long as I tell you these, will you revive me?" "Of course, I can swear on the honor of the 5th generation Hokage of Konoha village." "I don't trust you, let Hiruzen come instead." "Danzo, you fucking Orochimaru, don't pull me, I'm going to kill him now." "Idiot, it's useless for you to hit him now, he can't feel it." The 5th generation Jiraiya was also very angry. He had already sworn on the honor of the Hokage, and this old man dared not to believe in himself. "Jiraiya, I have been a ninja for so many years, and I have never suffered such grievances." "Orochimaru, when I collapsed Konoha, you faced the 2nd generation." "Jiraiya, okay, you can shut up now. It's rare that you are willing to believe me, old friend. You are not good looking, you are not good at being a Hokage, you are not strong in fighting, and you are soft-hearted and shameless, but we have been friends for decades. I believe you will not lie to me about this matter." The 3rd generation Hokage stood up with a gloomy face, and his voice was solemn and cold. "I swear on the honor of the 3rd generation Hokage of Konoha village, as long as you, Danzo, answer the questions we ask honestly, I will let Orochimaru take action and revive you. How about it, is it okay for me to say this?" Shimura Danzo nodded, ignoring the eyes of the 3rd generation Hokage who looked like he was looking at a dead person. To be honest, he, Danzo, is really a dead man now. "Jiraiya, you can ask me questions now." Jiraiya was slightly stunned. He thought Danzo would give some more suggestions. Unexpectedly, this guy was so straightforward at this time. Well, I will start asking now. I hope you can answer honestly and don't lie to us. Don't worry, I'm still counting on you to resurrect me. I won't lose the big picture for the small. The first question, where did you die? The Hidden Rain Village. Yes, this answer is correct. When a female ninja who looked like Konan was carrying Danzo's body around to cheat money, Jiraiya and others knew that Danzo should have died in the Hidden Rain Village. Very good, you didn't lie about the first question, so let's move on to the second question. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 179. Danzo's Regret. Who killed you? Was it Nagato, the leader of Akatsuki? Nagato? Hearing this name, Danzo immediately thought of the time when he joined forces with Hanzo to persecute another Akatsuki organization. At the beginning, he received intelligence that an organization that could gather people's hearts appeared in the Hidden Rain Village, and it has been growing stronger recently. After some understanding, he learned that the philosophy of this organization was completely opposite to his own. So Danzo, under the guise of Konoha's safety, quickly sent people to the Hidden Rain Village to contact Hanzo, wanting to destroy this organization. Under Danzo's deception, Hanzo, who was frightened by Konoha during the Third World War, agreed to the request to destroy the Akatsuki organization. As long as Hanzo took action, whether the Akatsuki organization was really destroyed afterwards or not, Danzo would have achieved his goal. If the Akatsuki organization was successfully destroyed, the Hidden Rain Village would lose a large part of its war potential. Those who joined the Akatsuki organization were all ninjas from the Land of Rain, and most of them were still young people. With the death of so many young people, the reserve force of the Hidden Rain Village would definitely be a problem. If Hanzo hadn't destroyed the Akatsuki organization, it would have caused hatred between the two sides, and thus caused the Hidden Rain Village to fall into the war between the two. No matter what the result is, it will be beneficial to Konoha. But he is a little confused now. Wasn't the Akatsuki organization eradicated by Hanzo? Afterwards, he also sent people to the Hidden Rain Village to investigate. After all, the people he sent were dead, and Hanzo needed to give an explanation. It was here that he got the information that the Akatsuki organization had been completely wiped out by Hanzo. Even the Light Curtain said that he and Hanzo killed Yahiko, the boss of the Akatsuki organization. Is this false? Could it be that Hanzo made a mistake in his work that year and let Nagato and others run away? Danzo, who had read the information, certainly knew Nagato. The Akatsuki organization was originally founded by him, Yahiko and Konan. Among them, Yahiko's orange hair is the leader of the organization, Nagato is responsible for combat power, and Konan is in charge of the money in the organization. Could it be that the current Akatsuki organization was re-established by Nagato and other remnants? I don't know if I died at the hands of Nagato as you said. I only know that I died at the hands of a black stick with a circle eye. The black stick directly penetrated my heart. Don't you have so many Sharingans that can use as energy to revive? Jiraiya didn't bother whether Danzo died at the hands of Nagato. Anyway, he had roughly guessed that the current Akatsuki organization was reorganized by Nagato and Konan. Do you think I'm useless? At this point, Danzo's expression became very gloomy. There were more than one Circle Eye who attacked me. There were 5 people. Some of them could summon many summoned beasts to attack, some could absorb the chakra of ninjutsu, some could use mechanical weapons, and some could fly in the sky to attack. I died at the hands of this flying Circle Eye. The most outrageous thing is that one of them has a Circle Eye. He has a secret technique that can revive other Circle Eyes. The amount of information in these words was a bit large, and everyone present listened very carefully. The 5th Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage had already confirmed that these Circle Eyes were puppets created by Nagato using the power of the Samsara Eye. They had some guesses after seeing the Light Curtain. Now, after hearing what Danzo said, they were more certain of their guesses. Even Danzo, who was talking and recalling the battle, began to suspect that these Circle Eyes were not living people. These Circle Eyes are very powerful. I took advantage of their lack of understanding of his energy and sneaked up on the Circle Eye that could summon the summoned beast after the first death, but he was resurrected by another Circle Eye later. During the battle, I also found that their vision seemed to be shared. My attack was clearly in a blind spot, but the Circle Eye I attacked seemed to have eyes on his back and easily dodged the attack. And the resurrected Circle Eye, he resurrected too quickly, and it seemed that there were no side effects. After all these things, I feel that the people I fought against are not living people, but corpses controlled by something. Danzo said so much, and he thought that the Third Hokage and others would be very surprised. After all, everyone knows about puppets, and the Sand Village is very good at it. But the puppets on the Sand Village side are just dead things. It is the first time he has seen a puppet like the Circle Eye that can speak and communicate, and can use various secret abilities in all his years. However, the Third Hokage, Jiraiya and others did not show the slightest surprise, which made Danzo realize something was wrong. Why? You already knew that these people were puppets, right? We just guessed based on the corners revealed by the light screen video. Then can you tell me what these puppets are? Of course, the circle eyes you mentioned are actually one of the three major eye techniques in the ninja world, the Samsara eye, also known as the Sage eye. Samsara eye? Yes, the puppets that attacked you are probably controlled using the power of the Samsara eye. Damn it, I never thought that there would be a Samsara eye in the Akatsuki organization. If he had known this earlier, when Hanzo ambushed the Akatsuki organization, he should have gone there in person instead of sending a few root ninjas to supervise the battle. And when he knew that all the root ninjas sent were dead, he should have been alert and realized that something was wrong. He also never thought that Hanzo would lie about this matter. He only killed Yahiko, but he told the people he sent that he had killed all the members of Akatsuki. False information hurts people. Didn't this kill him? That's right. If you knew that there was a Rinnegan in the Akatsuki organization, with your personality, you would definitely take action yourself to snatch the Rinnegan. Isn't that how Shisui got his Mangekyou Sharingan? Danzo ignored Jiraiya's sarcasm and asked expressionlessly, do you have anything else to ask? There's nothing to ask, but I need you to draw all the 5 puppets that attacked you. How about that? Can you do it? You're underestimating me. When I was young, I was also a good guy in the village. I was proficient in calligraphy, painting, and chess. I'm not like the old guy who only knows how to peek into the bathhouse every day. It's really vulgar. Ahem. Danzo, don't talk nonsense. I just happened to pass by there. Don't explain. Explanation is covering up, and covering up means it's true. As he said that, Danzo glanced at Jiraiya, like master, like disciple. Look at what you have done to Konoha's 5th Hokage. The 3rd Hokage and the 5th Jiraiya were silent. They didn't want to talk to Danzo anymore. They just wanted him to draw these 5 puppets and then let him roll back to the Pure Land. At this time, Orochimaru, who was very perceptive, took out the paper and pen that he had prepared long ago, and looked at Danzo with a weird smile. Thank you for your trouble, Danzo-sama. Humph. You, a poisonous snake, are not a good thing either. Taking the paper and pen, Danzo drew in his hand, and kept muttering in his mouth. Speaking of which, you 3 ninjas were all taught wrong by Hiruzen. One is lustful, one is a gambler, and one has a vicious personality. Good guy, you have all 3 evils of pornography, drugs, and gambling. Hiruzen, you are really a good teacher for them. The 3rd Hokage. Chapter 180. 3rd Generation. Orochimaru, clone more, you know what I mean. Okay, this is what those people look like. Danzo painted very quickly, and before everyone had to wait for long, he had finished 5 decent sketches. Tell us about the abilities of these people. Spreading the 5 sketches flat on the table, Danzo pointed to one of the people with a round face and said, this little fat guy is the puppet that can absorb ninjutsu chakra that I mentioned. This one can revive other puppets. By the way, this puppet has been killed by me. I don't know if it will be resurrected again. This one can summon beasts. Danzo finished introducing the 5 sketches in a short while. Jiraiya the 5th generation looked at one of the sketches and sighed softly. He had already seen that the puppet with the circle eyes that Danzo said he would pierce to death with that black stick should be the puppet made from Yahiko's body. This was also due to Danzo's good painting skills. Jiraiya was able to tell from the portrait that this was the appearance of Yahiko when he grew up. My mission is complete, right? Yes, so you can go back to the Pure Land now. Danzo has lost his value. The more the 3rd Hokage looks at him, the more annoyed he becomes. He waved his hand and asked Orochimaru to cancel the impure world reincarnation. Wait, can't you just revive me now? Danzo acted very anxious. He thought the 3rd Hokage wanted to break the bridge and didn't want to revive him. Hiruzen, you swore to revive me, you can't break your oath. Don't worry, I said I would revive you, and I will definitely revive you, you go back to the Pure Land and wait. No, I want you to revive me now. What a joke, do you think it's easy to revive a dead person? Don't we need to prepare? Danzo was slightly stunned by Jiraiya's words, and felt that what he said made sense. Okay, then I'll go back to the Pure Land first. It must be said that Orochimaru was still very humanitarian. He didn't force Danzo to return to the Pure Land, but only started to cancel the impure world reincarnation after he agreed. Hiruzen, you must revive me. Don't break your oath, or I will curse you to have a painful ass. Seeing that his impure world body was rapidly disintegrating, Danzo, who wanted to be resurrected, couldn't help but threaten the Third Hokage. However, this threat was just a joke. It was useless except for disgusting the Third Hokage. Very good, Danzo, you succeeded in disgusting me. After seeing that Danzo's impure world body had completely turned into a pile of debris, the Third Hokage immediately turned to Orochimaru and said, my old friend is very afraid of death, so you have to clone a few more of his bodies as backup, understand? Orochimaru stuck out his long tongue and replied with a strange smile, I understand. Very good. After that, the Third Hokage left the laboratory first. When he left, everyone present, except Orochimaru, also walked out of the laboratory. Luckily you held me back, Minato, or I would have punched Danzo's head. As soon as she walked out of the laboratory, Kushina clenched her fists and waved them in the air a few times, as if she was beating Danzo in the air. Kushina, we can't delay important things for our own preferences. Minato didn't like Danzo either. During the Nine-Tails Rebellion, the Root Ninjas didn't come forward to help everyone resist the Nine-Tails, but he shouldn't have stopped the Uchiha clan. If Fuku and others had helped at the time, maybe he and Kushina wouldn't have to die. Naruto could have had a happy and beautiful childhood. Of course, some people might say that the Nine-Tails eyes are the pattern of the Sharingan, and it is obvious that the Nine-Tails is controlled by the Sharingan. At this time, Danzo should be on guard against the Uchiha. But then again, if the Uchiha at the time could really control the power of the Nine-Tails, would they still be so cowardly? The passionate faction headed by Uchiha Setsuna would probably dare to rebel on the spot. Judging from the results, Danzo sent people to stop Uchiha from supporting Minato, which was completely wrong. God knows whether he wanted to take the opportunity to kill the fourth Hokage and vacate the position of Hokage to become the fifth Hokage. Judging from Danzo's personality, this is very likely. Originally, Danzo's ambition and ability did not match, which was one of the reasons why Minato hated him. But after he and Kushina were resurrected, he was told by the Third Hokage and Jiraiya that this bastard had been trying to recruit Naruto into the route to brainwash him. His attitude towards Danzo was not just disgust, but hatred. You dare to have ideas about our son, I must let Danzo know what it means to live a life worse than death. There's no need to be so cruel. Minato, how can you be more effeminate than me? I'm just worried that Naruto will think his mother is a cruel person. Well, you have a point. Isn't it? Minato touched the cold sweat on his head, and when he was about to breathe a sigh of relief, he heard Kushina continue to say, then why don't you let Naruto know? It's a happy decision. Looking at Kushina who had already made a decision, Minato did not speak to persuade her again. He was just kind-hearted, not stupid. There was no need to affect the relationship between husband and wife for Danzo, a mortal. The couple was fighting and making noises on the side, but Itachi Seikamo, who was traveling with them, was very silent. He thought about the things he knew after his resurrection, and felt more and more that he was a fool at the time. It didn't matter that he was stupid, the most important thing was that he also affected Kakashi. When he knew that after his death, Kakashi was bewitched by Danzo and betrayed the whereabouts of the Third Hokage, he felt so uncomfortable. If the Third Hokage hadn't made a clever move and persuaded Kakashi to rebel, maybe they would have been reunited in the Pure Land. It's not that Itachi Seikamo looked down on Danzo and his route. It's that he didn't believe that the Third Hokage could be successfully killed by those rotten fish and shrimps in the route. He really thought that the position of the Third Hokage was picked up, and others had also proved their strength on the battlefield. As the Hokage of a village, it would be too funny to be assassinated by his own men. The second Hokage. What the hell are you thinking about? What are you thinking about, Seikamo-senpai? It's said that Minato is a little son, who can warm people's hearts and take care of other people's emotions. Seeing that Itachi Seikamo, who was traveling with him, looked a little wrong, he quickly stopped chatting with Kushina and came to Seikamo's side. Nothing, I'm just thinking about the stupid things I did in the past. Minato probably knew what Seikamo was talking about, so he didn't ask, but said directly, as a human, everyone makes a mistake or two. Minato, have you made a mistake too? Minato glanced at Kushina cautiously, and saw that she was chatting with teacher Jiraiya and didn't notice this side, so he whispered. When I was a child, I didn't know anything, so I went to the bathhouse with teacher Jiraiya a few times, and was caught on the spot. Hearing this, Hatake Sakuma widened his eyes, made an incredible look, and said loudly, "What? You went to the bathhouse with Jiraiya and were caught on the spot?" Sakuma-senpai, you, before Minato could finish, Kushina, who was still talking to Jiraiya just now, appeared in front of him in a flash, and asked with a bright smile, "Minato, I didn't hear clearly what Sakuma-senpai said just now, can you repeat it to me?" "Kushina, I didn't hear clearly either, you should go find Sakuma-senpai." "Where is Sakuma-senpai?" Minato turned his head and found that Hatake Sakuma had run away without knowing when. At this time, he looked at Jiraiya again. He wanted to let Jiraiya-sensei attract Kushina's firepower. Result: why is Jiraiya-sensei missing too? Jiraiya. Nonsense, you are clearly trying to drag me down, if not now, when? Run away. Minato, danger. Chapter 181. Kamugaku and Iwagaku's actions. In the time and space of the Third Hokage, 12 years have passed since the Third Ninja World War. 12 years is enough for the big ninja villages that suffered losses in this war to recover. Of course, no one wants to give up the hard-won peace and start a new round of war. However, with the announcement of the alliance between Kamugaku and Iwagaku, an invisible smoke of gunpowder has already started. At this time, the ninja world is like an unlit gasoline barrel. It only takes a little spark for this gasoline barrel to explode. In the Hokage's office, the 5th generation Jiraiya looked at the intelligence in his hand and sneered contemptuously. It is a bit too naive for Kamugaku and Iwagaku to force us with such means. The intelligence shows that Kamugaku and Iwagaku officially announced to the outside world that they would give up exporting their own specialty products to the Land of Fire. For example, the specialty of Kamugaku village, liquor, beef and other civilian supplies. The specialty of Iwagaku village, various gemstones and minerals and other industrial supplies. The purpose of the two villages is very straightforward, that is, to force Konoha to hand over the resurrection technique through such means. As for this method, Jiraiya Godami said that it was not at all in vain. "Shikaku, do we have enough food?" Shikaku, the leader of the Junin squad, part-time secretary of the Hokage, and part-time military strategist of the village, nodded. "After the massive purchases we made in the past 2 months, we have no shortage of food and other daily necessities. If we force it, we can fight against Kamugaku and Iwagaku for a long time. Moreover, our Land of Fire is a major grain-producing country. They want to use the means of prohibiting the sale of food to us to achieve their goal. Kamugaku will definitely not succeed." "But what?" Shikaku glanced at Jiraiya, his expression slightly helpless. "But, the lack of industrial materials such as iron ore will affect the combat effectiveness of our ninjas. Then, can we contact Sand Village and Kurigaku to buy what we need from them?" "Yes, but the purchase price may be higher than usual." "It doesn't matter, as long as they don't take advantage of the situation, it's okay if it's higher." "Got it." "Okay, then, go down and make the arrangements." "Yes." Looking at Shikaku's departing back, thinking about the means of the two villages of Kamugaku and Iwagaku, Jiraiya couldn't help but want to laugh. If Konoha can't buy things from Kamugaku and Iwagaku, can't they go to Sand Village and Kurigaku? Although the price may be higher, and the quality may not be as good as that of Kamugaku and Iwagaku, it is enough to break the restrictions of these two villages on Konoha. Besides, if he can't buy things from Sand Village and Kurigaku, can't he buy them from the 2nd generation? Living people need time travel quotas, but dead things such as supplies don't. As long as he prepares enough storage scrolls, he can buy the demand of the village for several months at a time. It's just that space scrolls are not easy to make and are relatively expensive. If you buy too many at a time, the cost of money will be much higher than buying from Kurigaku and Sand Village. Therefore, buying supplies from the 2nd generation is only Jiraiya's last resort. If it is not necessary, he will not bother the 2nd generation. Next, let's see what other means Kamugaku and Iwagaku have. Kamugaku and Iwagaku do have follow-up means. They also know that blocking supplies is not reliable. This step is just to show their attitude, telling them that the two villages are going to deal with Konoha, and you, the fence-sitters, can start to stand in line now. At the same time, they were also warning Konoha that they were serious this time, and if they knew what was good for them, they would hand over the resurrection technique honestly, so as to avoid a mess in the end. As we expected, Konoha did not respond. And our people saw that Konoha sent 2 delegations abroad. If nothing unexpected happened, they should be heading to Sand Village and Mist Village. Well, inform Iwagaku and start the next plan. In Kumogaku, the fourth Hokage waved his hand and began to arrange his people to do things. In Iwagaku, the third Hokage Tsunade did almost the same thing as AI. I just don't know if Konoha can still stabilize under the joint attack of us and Kumogaku. Standing on a high place, Tsunade was confident that Konoha's resurrection technique would definitely succeed. Oh, it's not good, Okage-sama, Kumogaku and Iwagaku have made a move. A few days passed, and just when Jiraiya began to suspect that Kumogaku and Iwagaku's actions against Konoha were a bit of a big deal, a new round of intelligence came. Don't panic, Shikaku, let me see what new tricks they've come up with first. Jiraiya picked up the intelligence and began to read it. As he read on, his expression became worse and worse. Don't these two families want to do it anymore? With a smack, Jiraiya angrily slammed the intelligence on the table and said loudly, they are really capable. In order to grab the tasks, they actually greatly reduced the amount required when issuing the tasks. This move is really crazy. The number of tasks is not unlimited. If the ninja village here has one more task, it means that other ninja villages will have one less task. The main source of income for ninjas is through completing various tasks. Once there are no tasks, not only will the ninjas lose their source of income, but even the ninja villages will be implicated. If Jiraiya doesn't handle this matter well, it will really cause a big mess. What did Karigaku and Tsunade say? Kumogaku and Iwagaku are clearly trying to steal the mission. I don't believe Mataruma and Old Lady Kyo can tolerate this. It may take a while for the information from Karigaku and Tsunade to arrive, but I think that since Kumogaku and Iwagaku dare to do this, they must have the confidence to persuade Karigaku and Tsunade not to jump out and make trouble. It's nothing more than an exchange of interests. What you said makes sense. Jiraiya nodded, agreeing with what Shikaku said. Seeing that Jiraiya agreed with what he said, Shikaku continued, so, we can't put our hopes on Karigaku and Sand Village, we can only think of ways to break the situation ourselves. Then do you have any good suggestions? I have a few immature suggestions. Then you go first. Okay. Shikaku was silent for a while, sorted out his thoughts, and then said, first, if they want to fight a price war, then Konoha can also fight, and put the price at the same price as them. I believe that with the strength of our Konoha ninjas, at the same price, customers will choose us. If we fight a price war like them, isn't the price a bit high? Jiraiya is not a fool, as Orochimaru said. He can see the advantages and disadvantages of Shikaku's suggestion. Let's not talk about the advantages first, just the disadvantages made Jiraiya a little unacceptable. Chapter 182 Jiraiya. What did you say? If Konoha only fights a price war with one of Kumogaku and Iwagaku, Konoha will definitely win. Why? Because Konoha's finances are better than any of the two villages. To put it bluntly, a price war is to sacrifice one's own interests to subsidize the interests of the task issuer. In a short period of time, Konoha can still afford it, and it is only against one ninja village. But it is a bit difficult for Konoha to deal with two large ninja villages at once. One of them has less money than its own, and the money of the two combined is more than its own. In this case, Konoha has a high chance of losing in a price war. At the same time, the sequelae afterwards are also serious. It's like a person goes to buy fruit. The fruit is originally sold at 1 yuan per pound, and suddenly someone comes in to disrupt the situation and starts a price war with you, making the fruit that was 1 yuan per pound become 50 cents per pound. After a period of time, the price war ends and the fruit returns to 1 yuan per pound, but at this time, the customers are already used to buying fruit at 50 cents per pound. If it is rashly restored to 1 yuan per pound, it will definitely make the customers dissatisfied. It is more likely that customers will stop buying fruits from you and go to other fruit stores to buy fruits. Jiraiya doesn't know much about the economy, but he has traveled all over the country for so many years and understands human nature. So Jiraiya definitely doesn't want to fight a price war with the other side. What other suggestions do you have? The second suggestion is that we can send several elite teams to specifically disrupt the missions of these two villages. Once their mission failure rate is too high or they are damaged during the mission, for the sake of safety and interests, customers who go to their two villages to post missions will eventually come back. There is competition and cooperation between the 5 major ninja villages. There is really no team formed specifically to disrupt other people's missions. At most, they meet during a mission and can disrupt it if they can, or they can add some trouble if they can't. If there really is such a team born to disrupt missions, the entire ninja world will be in chaos. If I agree to this suggestion and get discovered, I'm afraid I'll be besieged by the entire ninja world. Well, that's possible. Why did you say it? Change your mindset. We can go to the underground exchange office and find those rebellious ninjas and wandering ninjas. Even if we are caught, it has nothing to do with our Konoha. Isn't this a bit immoral? Shikaku looked at Jiraiya deeply and said seriously, it is definitely immoral, but you are the Hokage of our Konoha. Shikaku was reminding Jiraiya that as a Hokage, he should not consider morality or immorality. Why was Danzo never dealt with by the Third Hokage? In addition to the decades of friendship between them, the Third Hokage also needed a black glove. You do all the bad things, and I will do the good things. This way, the reputation of the Hokage will not be damaged. It's just that the Third Hokage was a little too much later. He died before he had time to deal with Danzo, leaving Tsunade with a big cancer. Okay, we can keep this for now. Do you have any suggestions? Yes. Then tell me. Then say it. The last suggestion is to negotiate with Kamugaku and Iwagaku. Negotiate? About what? Of course it's about the resurrection jutsu. You won't let me give the resurrection jutsu to them. Wouldn't we in Konoha be in a cowardly situation then? Of course not. Shikaku shook his head and continued, I don't understand the details of the resurrection jutsu, but from what I think, the price to pay for such a heaven-defying jutsu must be huge, so we don't give out the jutsu, we sell places. Sell places? Yes, then we can say that the resurrection jutsu is very time-consuming, and the things that need to be prepared are many and complicated, and only one place can be sold in a short period of time. Hehe, Lord Hokage, do you think they will fight for this place? Jiraiya stared at Shikaku for a long time after hearing this, and he almost felt embarrassed for Shikaku, so he said, Shikaku, you are still young, for the sake of the next generation, don't go down the path of crime. Shikaku. What a mess. I will follow that teachings of the Hokage. Jiraiya pondered for a moment and said, let's implement your second suggestion first. If it doesn't work, try the third one. Okay, then I'll go down and make arrangements. Hokage, there is the latest information. Just as Shikaku was about to go down and arrange for people to go to the underground gold exchange, his friend Yamanaka Inoichi came in with a document. What happened? Jiraiya picked up the document and frowned as soon as he took a look. According to the intelligence, several of our teams that went out on missions were inexplicably attacked by some wandering ninjas and rebellious ninjas, causing these teams' missions to almost fail. There are many types of missions. There are assassinations, spying on intelligence, and destroying certain facilities. But more of them are to protect someone or some goods to reach the designated destination. This time, the escort was injured in the mission, and the goods were also damaged to varying degrees. Fortunately, no one died in the end, and the goods were not completely damaged. It can be said that the mission was barely completed. But it is impossible to get good reviews. Jiraiya, who had finished reading the intelligence, threw the document on the table again in anger. This is a rip-off. We were just about to go to the underground exchange office, and they have already arranged everything. This is really too much. The strength of the wandering ninjas and the rebel ninjas varies. The strong ones, like the people at the Akatsuki organization, are like monsters. The weak ones may not even be able to beat the genin who just graduated from the Konoha ninja school. It's just a robbery and sabotage mission, and Kamugaku and Iwagaku will naturally not hire the monsters of the Akatsuki organization. However, just the ordinary wandering ninjas and rebel ninjas are disgusting enough. Hokage, how about we start negotiations with them directly? No, doing so will make us look afraid of them. When Shikaku heard this, he couldn't help but mutter to himself. This is not a question of fear or not, but a question of heart and face. In Shikaku's opinion, throwing a quota for the other party to fight for, it is best to let them fight while disintegrating their alliance, and it would be even better if they can beat their dog brains out. You guys go down first. I need to think about it carefully. Yes, Hokage. X2 sitting in the chair, Jiraiya thought for a long time, but he couldn't think of a way to have the best of both worlds. He stood up, looked at the village outside the window and sighed, feeling that he had failed as a Hokage. Something happened in the village, and he couldn't even think of a solution. Fortunately, I'm not alone. Should I go ask the old man or Minato for help? Just when Jiraiya was thinking about who to ask for help, a Nanbu ninja appeared in front of him. Hokage, someone is looking for you downstairs. Do you want him to come up? Who is looking for me? Jiraiya was very surprised. People who knew him knew that he was usually not arrogant. If someone wanted to find him, they could just come to the office directly. There was no need to inform anyone. He said his name was Nagato. What did you say? Jiraiya. A. Chapter 183 Jiraiya. I'll take you out, otherwise I'm afraid you won't be able to leave. Are you sure his name is Nagato, not Short Gate, Iron Gate, or Steel Gate? Yes, Hokage, his name is Nagato. Then go and invite him up. Yes, Hokage. The younger ninja who came to report went downstairs to invite Nagato, and Jiraiya sat back in his chair. He rubbed his temples, feeling that things were going a little too bizarre. At this point in time, shouldn't Nagato be staying in the Hidden Rain village waiting for the resurrection of the Three Tails? Why did he come to Konoha village? Didn't he know that because of the Nine Tails, their positions were already on opposite sides? Or was he sure that his teacher wouldn't do anything to him? Or maybe he was extremely confident in his own strength, and even if Konoha made any moves, he would be able to leave without any damage. At this moment, Jiraiya thought a lot. He thought that the reason why Nagato came to Konoha was probably because of the resurrection technique. Otherwise, what else would he have done? A big boss from the opposite side would come to someone else's territory just to have a heart-to-heart talk with his old teacher. He shook his head slightly. After all, ideas were just ideas. He needed to ask Nagato in person what he was doing here. Not long after, Tendo Pain, wearing a red clouded black robe, stood in front of Jiraiya. Long time no see, Jiraiya-sensei. Long time no see, sit down and talk first. After inviting Tendo Pain to sit down, Jiraiya sighed and continued, do you know how many ninjas will pay attention to you walking around Konoha in this outfit? Nagato originally thought that Jiraiya would be surprised when he saw Tendo Pain made from Yahayako's corpse. As a result, Jiraiya's focus was not on Tendo Pain, but on the organization's clothes. From what Jiraiya said, Konoha knows a lot about our Akatsuki organization. At this point, without waiting for Jiraiya to reply, Tendo Pain immediately said, that's right. After all, Itachi is your spy, so it's natural for him to have some intelligence about our organization. That's right, Nagato knew from the beginning that Uchiha Itachi was a spy sent by Konoha, but he didn't care. He just needed Itachi's fighting power. As for where he was from and whether his heart was in Akatsuki, he didn't care at all. It's none of Itachi's business. We have a special intelligence channel. It's really special, so special that no one would believe it if it was told. Nagato, do you know how many Konoha ninjas are surrounding the Hokage building at this moment? Jiraiya didn't even need to sense it specifically, he could know that the building was already full of ninjas. Who told Nagato not to sneak in, but to walk in with a swagger. Spectators like the Third Hokage and Minato Namikaze, who were also in the light screen, would not ignore any member of the Akatsuki organization, not to mention that the person who came was the boss of the organization. It doesn't matter. This body belongs to Yahiko. If Jiraiya-sensei is willing to see his former disciple die in front of you, you can order them to do it now. Nagato, how come you have become such a rogue after not seeing you for so many years? Jiraiya sighed, looking helpless. He thought that Nagato might not care, or even threaten him, but he never expected that Nagato would act like a rogue. But he was really good at being a rogue. Even though Yahiko had become a puppet controlled by Nagato, he didn't want Yahiko to die again. And he died right under his own eyes. Seeing Jiraiya's helpless look, Nagato's real body, who was lurking not far outside Konoha village, also raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Tell me, what exactly do you want to do by taking such a big risk to come and see me? It's very simple. I hope that Jiraiya-sensei can resurrect Yahiko. Just resurrect Yahiko, not the resurrection technique itself. If Jiraiya-sensei insists on giving it to me, I won't refuse. Ahem. Well, the resurrection technique will definitely not be given to you, but resurrecting Yahiko is easy to talk about. After taking a sip of water to cover up his embarrassment, Jiraiya continued. Actually, if you don't come to me, I will find a time to find you in the Hidden Rain village. Yahiko is my disciple after all, and his death is also related to our Konoha. I just didn't expect you to be so eager to come to Konoha to find me. Yahiko is my brother. When I knew that Konoha could resurrect the dead, I wanted to resurrect Yahiko all the time. If I didn't need to get rid of certain people, I would have arrived in Konoha a few days ago. Subconsciously, Nagato didn't want Zetsu to know that he came to Konoha. For this reason, he waited for several days. Seeing that Zetsu was busy with other things, he pulled Konan here at a very fast speed. If possible, after Yahiko is resurrected, he does not want Yahiko to return to Akatsuki. The current Akatsuki is much more complicated than the original Akatsuki, and its members are all a group of unruly guys. There is also the ambitious Madara, Obito, in the organization, and he does not want Yahiko to take the risk of following him back to the Hidden Rain village. He will do the dangerous things, and Yahiko only needs to stay in Konoha and live in peace. Whatever is needed to revive Yahiko, I can prepare it immediately. You don't need to prepare anything. There are ready-made materials in the village. It just takes about a month to prepare. I can wait. The topic is almost over here. Tendo Pain is also ready to get up and leave. At this time, Jiraiya suddenly asked, Nagato, do you know about the Moon Eye Project? Moon Eye Project? What is that? Don't you know? Forget it, just pretend I didn't ask. Obito was lurking in Akatsuki's Uchiha Madara, and Jiraiya thought that Nagato, as the boss of the organization, would know something about this plan. As a result, Nagato had never even heard of this plan, which made Jiraiya a little disappointed. Okay, as long as Jiraiya-sensei resurrects Yahiko, I will pay you in Konoha a reward that will satisfy you. No need to pay anything, just consider it as compensation from me as a teacher to Yahiko. Do you need to leave Yahiko's body in Konoha? No, you just need to give me some of Yahiko's body tissue. Hearing this, Tendo Pain nodded, pulled out a few hairs on the spot, bit off a small piece of meat, and put it in front of Jiraiya. Is this enough? Enough. After accepting Yahiko's hair and meat, Jiraiya stood up, walked in front of Tendo Pain, and said, Let's go, I'll take you out, otherwise I'm afraid you can't get away. Originally, the beginning was written as Kalo welcoming Zuyu, but thinking it was too spoof, I deleted it and rewrote it. Chapter 184 The Calm Before the Storm. Teacher Jiraiya, are you underestimating me? Ever since he used the Samsara Eye to summon the Outer Path Demon statue, when has Nagato ever been looked down upon by others? Even Uchiha Madara, Obito, didn't dare to speak loudly to him in front of him. It's just a village hidden in a hidden leaf village. Do you really think that this puppet of Tendo Pain is a vegetarian? You underestimated the Konoha ninja too much. Shaking his head, Jiraiya took Tendo Pain downstairs and said as he walked, We know that you're very strong with the Samsara Eye, and you have more than just this puppet in front of you, but guess what? Since we know that you can control the actions of the puppets, will we go out of the village to find your real body? Hearing this, Nagato, who was hiding not far from the Konoha village, immediately said to Konan beside him, Konan, sense if there are any Konoha ninjas around us. What happened? While asking, Konan was also trying her best to sense the surroundings. This hiding place was carefully selected by Konan, far away from the road but not too far from Konoha. Moreover, she also laid many sensing paper around to ensure the safety of this hiding place. At this time, she strengthened the connection with the surrounding shika paper, and soon she sensed that there were indeed many ninjas wearing Konoha forehead protectors around. However, these ninjas have not yet discovered their real hiding place and have not formed an effective encirclement. It seems that I really underestimated these Konoha ninjas. Thanks to Jiraiya. Nagato has heard it from his mouth. We in Konoha know your Akatsuki organization and you, Nagato, very well. You must not mess around in Konoha relying on your own strength. Of course, this was done intentionally by Jiraiya to warn Nagato not to mess around in the village. Now it seems that the effect of this warning seems to be quite good. Old man, let them all disperse. Nagato just came to chat with me. The Third Hokage looked at Jiraiya deeply and chose to believe him. The Third Hokage waved his hand, and the ninjas hiding in the dark immediately let down their guard and returned to their usual state, doing what they should do. The Third Hokage himself, puffing on his pipe, walked back home slowly. Let's go. Okay. Jiraiya knew that Nagato might be a little anxious, so the two of them walked at a fast pace. It didn't take long for them to leave the village and walk to a place not far from Nagato's hiding place. Okay, I think you may not want me to know where you are hiding, so I'll take you there. While speaking, Jiraiya called out to Minato Namikaze and Seikumo Hatake who were standing on the tree, indicating that they don't need to be so nervous. Tendo Pain glanced at Minato and Seikumo and nodded. Nagato really didn't want Jiraiya to see his skinny self now, and he didn't want him to see Konan. Nagato knew that Konan only looked cold on the surface, but she was an emotional girl in her heart. There would be no practical significance between the two of them even if they met, so why bother? Okay, after Yahiko is resurrected, I will send someone to the Hidden Rain village to inform you. Okay, then I'll trouble you, Master Jiraiya. Haha, I'm your master, what's the trouble? Jiraiya smiled heartily, patted Tendo Pain on the shoulder, and began to walk back. Seeing this, Minato Namikaze and others knew that there would be no conflict, and began to call people back to Konoha. Don't worry, Master, I won't let others disturb Yahayako's resurrection. Although Jiraiya has already said that he doesn't need any reward, Nagato has his own considerations. After all, he and Jiraiya have different positions, and he doesn't want to take too much advantage of the other party, so as not to be soft-hearted when he takes action. Considering Konoha's current situation, in order not to owe Jiraiya too much, and in order to prevent others from disturbing Yahayako's resurrection, Nagato has decided to attack one of the two villages, Kamugaku or Iwagaku. As long as they can deal with one of the ninja villages and make them too busy to deal with Konoha, then with the size of Konoha, it will be easy to deal with the remaining one. Nagato, are you okay? It's okay. All the ninjas of Konoha have withdrawn. That's good. I thought you had a conflict with Jiraiya in Konoha. No, Jiraiya agreed to revive Yahayako very readily. Really? That's great. After Yahayako is resurrected, the three of us can be together again. At this moment, Konan seemed to have returned to the appearance of the smiling little girl in the past. Looking at Konan like this, Nagato was silent for a while, and then said, "Let's go back to the Hidden Rain village." Okay. After returning to the village, help me notify Zetsu and let him keep a close eye on the 4th Hokage and the 3rd Hokage. Nagato, what are you doing? This is what must be done to revive Yahayako. I understand. The two hurried and found that Zetsu, who left the Hidden Rain village some time ago, has not returned yet. I don't know what Zetsu was doing recently. He either urges me to implement the plan to capture the tailed beasts ahead of time or disappears. Nagato, I think Zetsu has some bad intentions. It doesn't matter. There are not enough people in the organization with their own ulterior motives. As long as they can be used by me, it's fine. What is Black Zetsu doing at this time? It is lurking in the sand village of the Wind Country, watching the every move of Gaara, the one-tailed Jinchuriki. When it has thoroughly figured out Gaara's movements, it will be time for it to capture the one-tailed Jinchuriki. However, everyone knows its combat power. If it wants to successfully capture Gaara, it will inevitably need help from others. It has already chosen the candidate, which is Hoshigakikism. Originally, Obito was the best candidate. With the power of Kamui, he could get Gaara without anyone noticing. But this guy's recent behavior has made Black Zetsu no longer able to control him. The talisman in Obito's heart is the last bottom line. It doesn't want to completely turn against Obito unless it is absolutely necessary. Therefore, in the Akatsuki organization, the only one who can help it is Hoshigakikism. After all, it is the incarnation of Uchiha Madara's will. In order to implement the Moon Knight plan in advance, Kism will not refuse to help it. It's just that old Lady Kyo is a bit of a hindrance. When we capture the one-tailed Jinchuriki, we have to find a way to transfer this old lady away. In order to train Gaara to become the Kazekage as soon as possible, old Lady Kyo, who temporarily manages the Sand Village, will let Gaara go to the Kazekage office building every day to assist her in reviewing documents. It can be said that as long as Gaara turns 15 next year, he will be able to successfully become the youngest Kage in the history of the ninja world. In order not to alert the enemy, Black Zetsu lurked patiently. Until 20 days later, a new episode of the Light Curtain video is coming. Chapter 185. The 11th character review. It was the same time and the same place. The people on Tobirama Senju's side all looked quite relaxed. There was no other way. With the first Hokage Senju Hashirama, they felt safe. Look, Mito was even eating melon seeds. Ahem. Mito, everyone is waiting for the light curtain to come down, and you're the only one eating melon seeds. Isn't that good? Uzumaki Mito rolled her eyes at Hashirama Senju. They have been married for so many years, and she knows Hashirama too well. The reason why he said that was simply because he wanted to eat melon seeds too. Here. Mito grabbed a handful of melon seeds from his pocket and put them in Hashirama's hand. Mito, that's not what I meant. Hashirama wanted to be reserved, but Mito didn't indulge him. You don't want it? Then I'll give it to someone else. After saying that, Mito stretched out his hand and tried to take the melon seeds back from Hashirama's hand. No, I'm just kidding. Hashirama retracted his right hand and dodged Mito's hand that was stretched out to grab the melon seeds. TS came reality. Mito rolled her eyes at Hashirama again, and then began to distribute melon seeds to everyone. She brought a lot of melon seeds, enough for everyone present to have a big handful. Compared with the relaxed atmosphere of Tobirama Senju's side, the atmosphere at the Third Hokage's side was a little bad. Jiraiya, I heard that in recent days, several ninja teams' missions were disrupted by those rebellious ninjas. Although the missions did not fail, the employees suffered some losses. If this continues, Konoha's reputation will suffer a great blow. Old man, I don't have any good solutions. Jiraiya couldn't help but have a headache when talking about this. In order to deal with the sabotage of these wandering ninjas and rebellious ninjas, he deliberately sent Minato and Seikomo out to secretly serve as bodyguards for those ninja teams on missions. At first, there was some effect. Minato and Seikomo took action and killed a group of wandering ninjas and rebellious ninjas, shocking everyone, letting these guys who valued money over life know that they wanted to make money but had no life to spend it. As the saying goes, money can move people. After Kamugaku and Iwagaku increased the amount of money for the missions issued by the Underground Gold Exchange, these guys started to sabotage Konoha's missions again. Compared with the last time, this time is even crazier. It's so crazy that even Minato and Seikomo can't do anything. After all, there are only two of them, and there are many ninjas in Konoha doing missions outside. Distracted, even if Minato has the Flying Thunder God technique, he can't take care of everyone. Moreover, it is really a waste of talent to let Minato and Seikomo, two powerful ninjas, serve as bodyguards for those teams doing C-level and B-level missions for a long time. But without these two people to escort them, the failure rate of the mission and the loss of the employee will increase further. Fortunately, Sand Village and Kurigaku have agreed to Konoha's request and started to supply ore, seafood and other materials. Even if the price is higher than usual, it can be regarded as good news. How about letting Minato and Seikomo go to Kamugaku and Iwagaku to cause trouble? No, old man. On the surface, those wandering ninjas and rebellious ninjas have nothing to do with Kamugaku and Iwagaku. We in Konoha cannot take the initiative to do this. Then we will also go to the Underground Exchange office and issue a mission to destroy Kamugaku and Iwagaku. This doesn't seem to work either. In order to encourage those guys who value money over their lives to cause trouble for us, the price offered by the two villages is too high. At the same time, I also suspect that they're eager for us to follow up and then use the financial resources of the two villages to drag us down. This won't work, and that won't work. How come you have become more indecisive than me? The Third Hokage looked at Jiraiya, feeling a little disappointed. This disciple is good at everything, and is like him in every aspect, but sometimes he can't tell the difference between the important and the unimportant. Konoha doesn't take the initiative to cause trouble, but it's not afraid of it. Judging from the fact that Kamugaku and Iwagaku only dare to do small things secretly and dare not confront Konoha head-on, they are also afraid of their side. Therefore, in the eyes of the Third Hokage, as long as Konoha behaves a little tougher, it will be enough to intimidate Kamugaku and Iwagaku. Jiraiya, you are now the Hokage of Konoha, you must stand up and don't be a coward. Jiraiya was speechless. He looked at the Third Hokage with a complicated expression for a long time before saying, I can stand up, and I can also order Minato and Seikomo to go to Kamugaku and Iwagaku, but what chain reaction will happen afterwards? Are you willing to take responsibility for it, old man? Responsible? Take responsibility for what? I, the old man, have retired, and now you are the Hokage. Hearing this, Jiraiya was almost laughing out of anger. He looked at the Third Hokage, gave him a thumbs up, and praised him. Old man, you really deserve to be my teacher. This time you taught me a lesson again. MD, I, Jiraiya, am not Danzo, you want to fool me. No way. Hehe, I'm your teacher, and it is my duty to teach you. Remember to pay the tuition fee for this class after you finish watching the light curtain. Old man, you are really getting more and more shameless as you get older. Haha, I will take it as a compliment. Also, even if you compliment me, don't think about shirking the tuition fee. Jiraiya. Hi, dear audience, hello, I'm the new Lin Tian. Today, we will continue to count the members of the Akatsuki organization. In order to speed up the progress of the inventory, this issue's inventory is the same as the previous issue, and we will count two characters together. First of all, the first person we counted in the first half is Didora, who is known as the blasting assembly line worker, this strange man who blew himself up in the ninja world at the slightest disagreement. Didora? If I remember correctly, or Okimura, you said that he seems to be a traitor from Iwagaku, right? The light curtain inventory began, and Jiraiya didn't want to chat with the third generation Hokage. Yeah, he's not only a traitor from Iwagaku, but also a disciple of Uluki. TSK, a disciple of the Kage of a village actually became a traitor, how funny. Well, Orochimaru, don't worry, I'm not talking about you. Hehe, I won't blame you if you give me more funding. You really deserve to be the old man's disciple, you two are crazy about money. Just tell me whether you will give it or not. Give it. Wouldn't it be fine if you agreed earlier? What a waste of my saliva. Jiraiya gritted his teeth and agreed to increase funding for Orochimaru. But he also kept a little more careful, only saying to increase funding, but not how much. At the time, a symbolic increase of 10,000 taels of funding will be given to Orochimaru. He won't come to chop himself for such a small matter, right? Thinking of Orochimaru's more insidious personality, Jiraiya felt that it would be safer to increase the 10,000 taels to 100,000 taels. If it's more, he really has nothing. The village's money is planned, and this time, the increase in funding for Orochimaru is his own treasury. If we give too much, the landlord won't have any surplus food. Shaking his head and getting rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind, Jiraiya looked at Deidara on the screen and muttered softly. If Deidara is really a disciple of Ulnuki, then this matter seems to be feasible. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 186. Dawn of the Blue Dragon. Deidara. When Deidara was 9 years old, he often did terrorist incidents in the village, such as blowing up a manhole cover during the Chinese New Year, but the explosion was larger in scale, and the people who were injured were usually others rather than himself. At a young age, he did what terrorists love most. Such people are generally called old terrorists. With such a talented child, he did not impress the old antiques in the Hidden Rock village who despised firearms at all, because they preferred to throw stones at people when fighting. As Deidara's master, the Uchiha Madara also forced Deidara to leave the village to live. Compared with Naruto, they are also two yellow-haired people who also like to cause destruction in the village. Konoha mainly encourages them and does not restrict Naruto's specialties at all, such as the Okage rock wall painting. Especially the seduction technique, which was highly praised by the village's senior officials, and the children of senior officials rushed to learn it. It can be seen that Konoha has left the Hidden Rock village more than 130 Hidden Cloud village since the beginning of youth education. Ha ha ha, this kid's ideas are very strange. Looking at the bikini beauty that Naruto turned into on the light curtain, Hashirama Senju praised Naruto as the nosebleed. Mito, who was beside Hashirama, saw her husband's embarrassing appearance, and her eyes gradually became dangerous. Hashirama, do you think the beauty on the light curtain is pretty? Of course she is. Then do you want me to dress like this for you to see? Of course. Mito, why don't we just forget it? We're already old, so don't mess around. It would have been better if Hashirama didn't say anything, but Mito got even angrier when he spoke. Good, Hashirama Senju, you finally told the truth, right? You just dislike me for being old. Mito, that's not what I meant. I don't want to listen, you just dislike me for being old. To be honest, Mito is indeed old, almost 50 years old. But because of the NCL, her appearance is similar to that of a girl in her 20s. Besides, Hashirama Senju is not the kind of person who dislikes his wife's age. He just speaks his mind and doesn't think before he speaks. Tobirama, your elder brother now dislikes me for being old, what do you think? It's simple, I'll sit and watch. Senju Tobirama didn't want to get involved in the couple's mess. Anyway, they would both be reconciled in the end, and his and other people's opinions were not important at all. Okay, you two Senju brothers teamed up to bully an old woman like me, I won't live anymore, stop. Mito, your crying is too fake, and can you stop eating melon seeds when you cry? It's easy to choke. What do you care about me? Okay, do whatever you want. Senju Hashirama held his forehead with his hand. He didn't know what was wrong with Mito. On the other hand, Tobirama, who was standing aside, looked at the beautiful figure of Naruto on the light screen, and then looked at the rich sister-in-law, and the whole person was thoughtful. Just when Tobirama was anticipating a certain possibility, Mito suddenly pointed the spearhead at Tobirama. I don't care, Tobirama, you must clone a young body for me. Well, Tobirama's premonition came true, and Uzumaki Mito really wanted a young body. Okay. For Tobirama now, it is too easy to clone a clone without Hashirama cells and messy blood limit cells. Anyway, it is not troublesome, so he agreed. By the way, I also want to fine-tune the clone. I wonder if it is possible. Senju Tobirama looked at his sister-in-law meaningfully and nodded. Okay. Ha ha ha, wait a month, I will be the first big-breasted person in our Uzumaki clan. Hearing this, everyone present, including Tsunade, was speechless. So you made such a fuss with the first generation just to want a big-breasted body? Speaking of which, Mito-sama, aren't you a little too lively? Shouldn't you be more reserved in this matter? Mito's face was fierce. Do you want to control me? Everyone waved their hands and shook their heads wildly. No way, no way. Naruto's seduction technique was exposed on the screen, causing a farce on the part of Tobirama Senju. On the part of the Third Hokage, the issue of seduction technique also caused a commotion. Old Third Hokage, do you want to give me an explanation? When Kushina saw Naruto transformed into a bikini beauty, she immediately exploded. If she hadn't been held back by Minato and Tsunade, she would have punched the Third Hokage on the spot. Yes, Third Hokage, you don't stop this kind of thing, but praise it. Aren't you afraid that the children will learn bad things? Minato was also a little dissatisfied with the Third Hokage. It is a good thing to be able to invent a ninjutsu, but it is unnecessary to use seduction technique. This will affect the physical and mental health of teenagers. Alas, actually, I have regretted it a long time ago. I shouldn't have spoiled Naruto like this. Didn't you see that my grandson Konohamaru is also learning from Naruto? Ha, my son did a good job. That's what we should do. It would be best if we could lead the next generation of the Sarutobi family astray. Well, I don't know what you mean, but I will try my best. On the side, Ashuma muttered softly, actually, there is no need to work so hard. Ah? What does uncle mean? Ashuma said it softly, but Naruto still heard it. Seeing Kushina looking at him with a very kind look, Ashuma quickly explained, what I mean is that you don't have to spend so much energy to teach others, just educate Konohamaru well. Ashuma felt that Konohamaru had been led astray by Naruto anyway, so instead of letting Naruto harm other juniors, it would be better to continue to harm Konohamaru. I believe that with Konohamaru standing in front as a model, other juniors in the family should not deliberately approach Naruto, right? Ashuma. For the sake of the other children in the family, Konohamaru, please forgive me. Didora, who was not guided by Luki, became more and more skilled in kneading mud during his 3 years of living alone. The small mouths on his 2 palms became more and more flexible, and he was invited by the 3 gay men to join the Akatsuki organization. 3 men plus Didora, 4 men and 6 mouths, not counting the mouth on the chest, hit it off. In pursuit of art, Didora also fell in love with Uchiha's beautiful eyes who could not extricate themselves. At the age of 12, he became a child laborer for terrorists, living in a life of kneading mud to make explosives every day. Personal work number. King Long. Didora, who worked on the blasting assembly line for 6 or 7 years, was appreciated by the leader for his outstanding work, his skill in kneading mud, and his good explosion effect. He was arranged to follow the old employee in the workplace, the figure man, Scorpion, to form a partner and go to the Sand Village, the territory of the one-tailed Jinchuriki. Chapter 187. The Lonely Sand Village. Damn it, I actually forgot about old Lady Kyo's grandson, Scorpion of the Red Sand. Jiraiya the 5th generation slapped his head hard, annoyed by his forgetfulness. Konoha is now in trouble, and it is time to need friends. If he tells Kyo about Scorpion at this time, will he get the support of the Sand Village? To put it another way, even if the Sand Village will not stand with Konoha clearly and withstand the pressure from Kumogakure and Iwagaku. But when Konoha goes to buy ore and other materials, it is enough to be slightly cheaper. The cost of exchanging gold in the underground gold exchange for the 2 villages of Kumogakure and Iwagaku is not low. As long as they can get through this most difficult period, Jiraiya believes that the winner will definitely be Konoha. After the video is played, send someone to the Sand Village to notify Kyo to come and discuss Scorpion's matter. Since Gaara raises wild raccoons, this mission is to demolish the Sand Village and capture wild animals. After arriving, Didora asked Scorpion to guard the entrance of the village, and he flew over the Sand Village, intending to capture one by himself. As a result, this guy was caught by Gaara as soon as he entered the village, but he couldn't resist Didora's flying ability. Under the pursuit of sand, Didora shuttled through the buildings at high speed to dodge the attack, and also pinched a few bombs. Seeing that Didora was so able to fly, Gaara also used sand to ascend to the sky on the spot. Didora was very curious why Gaara knew that he was a member of the Akatsuki organization so quickly. Gaara said that the chicken you are stepping on is not available in our village. After that, Gaara used the Hand of Sand to intercept Deidara. However, Deidara's advantage is that he is short and powerful, and his movement speed is fast enough, so the attack of the Hand of Sand did not achieve any effect. At the same time, Deidara's explosive clay was also ready, constantly testing Gaara. Deidara analyzed that Gaara mostly used sand for defense and was slow, so he pinched the detonating clay chicken and successfully stole Gaara. But Gaara promptly took up the Shaker sand in the god on his body, wrapped his whole body, and used the Eye of Sand to spy on Deidara. This little kid with the god on his back is in a bad situation. In the Tobirama office, everyone watched this battle very seriously. Especially the three Uchiha, they almost took out their notebooks to take notes. The two sides in the battle were also well-known strongmen in that era. One side was a member of the terrorist Akatsuki organization. The other side was the one-tailed Jinchuriki of the Sand Village, who also served as the Wind Shadow. Even Tobirama Senju watched this battle very seriously. Grandpa, why do you say that the one-tailed Jinchuriki is in a bad situation? I think he defended very well. Little Tsunade is still young, and their focus is still on the battle itself. Judging from the fight between Gaara and Deidara on the light screen, the two fought back and forth, and Gaara was not at a disadvantage. However, the same battle, in the eyes of adults, can see different things. Yes, the kid with the god on his back is not at a disadvantage at the moment, but you have to look at the battlefield of the battle. Venue. Hearing this, little Jiraiya looked thoughtful and said, what the first generation means is that fighting in the Sand Village is not good for the Hokage. Little Jiraiya is right. Senju Hashirama nodded, agreeing with what little Jiraiya said. But why? Logically speaking, if the battle is fought in the Sand Village, the Hokage should have the advantage. After all, he can ask other ninjas in the village for support. Just like the Nine-Tails Rebellion during the Fourth Hokage's time, with the support of many Konoha ninjas, even the Nine-Tails can only be fears for a while. What you said is not wrong, but this is only in general circumstances. Look at the light screen again. Where are the guys riding the bird and carrying the god fighting? Little Jiraiya looked at the light screen obediently. Before he could speak, little Tsunade beside him said, I understand what Grandpa meant. The two of them are fighting in the sky. Ordinary ninjas can't support them at all. Ha, my little Tsunade is really smart. That's right. After receiving the praise from Hashirama Senju, little Tsunade looked at little Jiraiya proudly. What are you so proud of? I thought of that, too. Little Jiraiya didn't dare to confront little Tsunade. He was afraid that little Tsunade would invite him to go shopping together again. For the sake of his wallet, he could only mutter in a low voice. Tsunade, Jiraiya is not convinced. Unexpectedly, little Orochimaru, who had been silent all the time, suddenly spoke up and betrayed little Jiraiya. Orochimaru, you, Jiraiya, shut up, you seem very dissatisfied. No, Tsunade, listen to my explanation. Hehe, I just saw a new dress yesterday, Jiraiya, will you buy it for me? No, Tsunade, you can't do this. If you don't buy it for me, you don't like me. Little Jiraiya. Watching the intimate interaction between little Tsunade and little Jiraiya, little Orochimaru felt unprecedented satisfaction. At this time, after the careful teaching of Senju Tobirama, little Orochimaru is completely different from him in the original book. At least, he will not want to be immortal in order to learn all the ninjutsu as in the original book. At this time, he cares more about the friendship between his companions. In particular, watching the laughter and scolding between little Tsunade and little Jiraiya, he enjoys it very much. However, his enjoyment is often based on the pain of little Jiraiya. While Deidara was analyzing, he was accidentally trapped by the sand cage that Gaara had manipulated from behind, but the sand cage was immediately blown up. While Deidara was escaping from the sand cage, he was repeatedly pulled by the sand and fled left and right in the air with a flying chicken. Gaara seized the opportunity and attacked with sand mixed with chakra, and tore off one of Deidara's arms. However, this operation also made the sand ball protecting Gaara insufficient, and a gap appeared. The soy sauce ninjas of Sand Village gathered below did nothing, but their average vision was 2.0. They looked at the battlefield in the air from a distance and cheered for Gaara crazily. Sand Village is lonely. In the Hokage's office, the 5th generation Jiraiya saw that in the battle between Gaara and Deidara, the other ninjas of Sand Village could not even help, and he couldn't help but sigh. Yes, although the enemy can fly and move very flexibly in the air, we can at least use wind-style ninjutsu to force Deidara to move and help Gaara. Minato is right. Who would have thought that when facing the invaders, only the Hokage of Sand Village, one of the 5 great ninja villages, could fight against them, and the other ninjas could not help at all. It's really a waste of the title of one of the 5 great ninja villages. Chapter 188 Naruto's Despicable Deidara. Deidara realized that Gaara's absolute defense was a bit difficult to deal with, and the amount of clay was drastically reduced, so Deidara decisively changed his strategy. Deidara, since you can't catch the one-tailed Jinchuriki, don't blame me for demolishing it first. Deidara thought so and did so at the same time. In the sky, he took out the C3 Big Chicken 1 bomb and smashed it towards the residential area of Sand Village. Seeing that the bomb was about to fall in this residential area, Gaara said a little tiredly that the village could not be demolished at the moment, and then he took out most of the sand and built an empty sand wall to block the explosion of C3. Only the Sand Country real estate sand ninjas praised Gaara and saved their houses. Just when everyone thought Gaara was about to win, Deidara used the same trick again and stole Gaara with the explosive clay Little Chicken 1. The little flying chicken entered through the hole that Gaara leaped and then exploded. Gaara filled the hole in time, but he separated a lot of sand for the village to defend against C3. Unfortunately, he mixed sand with clay to fill the hole. This was the clay that Deidara added to the sand when he broke his hand. Deidara shouted loudly, and countless small bombs drilled out of Gaara's sand and exploded together. In the end, Gaara was overconsumed and seriously injured and was captured by Deidara. In this round, Gaara had to protect the village, and Deidara had to capture him alive. In summary, it was a fast-paced battle. Deidara was moving at high speed above Gaara throughout the whole process. There were too many pros and cons of the battle between the two sides, so I won't go into details here. How could it be? Gaara was captured by this man called Deidara? Looking at Gaara being captured by Deidara on the light screen, Uzumaki Naruto's eyes were full of anger. It's so despicable. If Deidara wasn't so despicable, how could Gaara lose to him? Naruto was very dissatisfied with this battle. If Gaara didn't want to protect the people in the village, how could he lose? Who is Gaara? Gaara is the one-tailed Jinchuriki and the wind shadow of Sand Village. Most importantly, Gaara is also a good friend of Uzumaki Naruto. Deidara used such a despicable means to defeat Gaara. How could Uzumaki Naruto accept it? Namikaze Minato, who was beside him, heard the words of his stupid son and didn't know how to speak for a while. Could he say that Deidara's behavior was not actually despicable, but just a tactic to force Gaara to reveal his flaws? The battle between ninjas is to do everything possible. During the ninja war, in order not to reveal the marching route of Sand Village, Old Lady Kyo slaughtered all the villages along the way. In the eyes of ninjas such as Namikaze Minato and Hatake Seikamo, Deidara's behavior is understandable in order to achieve his own goals. Well, anyway, Deidara didn't blow up the villages of Konoha, and the incident didn't happen to him, so this is understandable. Dad, why don't you accompany me to the Sand Village in a while? I want to remind Gaara to be careful of this, Deidara. Namikaze Minato didn't say anything, but looked at his teacher, Jiraiya. Jiraiya originally wanted to send someone to the Sand Village, and seeing that Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Naruto wanted to go, he simply satisfied him. I have something to discuss with Kyo, or I can let you and Naruto go there. Okay, thank you very much, Jiraiya-sensei. After successfully capturing the one-tailed Jinchuriki, Deidara led his men to reunite with Sasori. Gaara's brother Kankuro came to rescue him but to no avail, so the Sand Village's high-level officials began to contact Konoha for support. Deidara and Sasori took Gaara to a base of Akatsuki, where Gaara was pulled out of the one-tail by Akatsuki and died directly online. After completing the task of extracting the tailed beast, Deidara and Sasori, whose left hand was already gone, stayed behind to cover the rear and faced the joint team of Konoha and Tsunade who were just arriving. Deidara took Gaara's body on the road, and Kakashi and Naruto followed all the way. Deidara stimulated Naruto all the way, using his remaining hand to do himself in the wind, and was almost twisted off his head by Kakashi who was trying the main Kime Sharingan. But Kakashi is Kakashi, and he really couldn't stand it at the critical moment, and only broke Deidara's right hand with the ring. Here, Naruto was feeling sad for Gaara's death. On the other side, Ashuma hugged Kakashi's neck and whispered, "Look, this title is even recognized by the light curtain. Otherwise, don't call you Konoha Technician in the future, just call you Kakashi, ha ha ha." Kakashi was speechless when he heard this. To be honest, his chakra is considered good among the Chunin. Not the best, nor the worst. The main reason is because of Obito's main scheme. Kakashi, I think, since Obito is not dead, should you find a chance to return this Sharingan to him? After watching the light screen last time, Hatake Seikamo trained Kakashi hard and had a complete understanding of his son's strength. In his opinion, this main scheme Sharingan did give Kakashi some help. For example, the super dynamic vision can prevent Kakashi from inserting the wrong person when using Raikiri. Obito's main scheme's exclusive pupil power, Kamui, is also a very useful long-range attack method. But Kakashi is not a member of the Uchiha clan after all. He can't take the initiative to close the Sharingan, and can only let the Sharingan squeeze his chakra all the time. The Hokage family ninjas are not famous for their large amount of chakra. In the long run, Seikomo is a little worried that Kakashi will die young. He is still thinking about holding his grandson, and he can't let his only son die young. Even with the resurrection technique, it won't work. Besides, the swordsmanship of the Hokage family is not weak. Giving up the Sharingan doesn't mean Kakashi will become a weak chicken. He can still learn swordsmanship from me. And Kakashi's own attainments in lightning escape are not low. Who knows if he can invent some more lightning escape ninjutsu. I'll think about it. Touching his eyes, facing his father's persuasion, Kakashi didn't know how to respond for a while, and seemed particularly entangled. While Deidara was still surprised by Kakashi's outrageous ninjutsu, he was careless and was attacked by Naruto as the ball. This caused Deidara's bird to be gone, and Gaara's body was also taken away by Naruto. Fortunately, he used clay to make a clone, escaped the beating of Naruto and Gaben, and sent an explosion to the joint team of Konoha and Tsunade. Of course, in front of Kakashi who suddenly recovered his chakra, it was just a close call. Chapter 189 The second male lead of Naruto. In this battle, Deidara was injured and escaped, but Sasori was killed. As we all know, members of Akatsuki organization work in pairs. In order to seamlessly connect Deidara with a new partner, Akatsuki organization arranged for him to have a trainee who had been interned for 2.5 years. A Fae. Wait, Sasori is dead. How did he die? Who killed him? The previous second, the 5th generation Jiraiya was still surprised that Sasori looked so young, and the next second, Sasori died at the hands of 2 puppets of unknown origin. Isn't this way of death too hasty? Jiraiya, you're already a mature Hokage, don't make such a fuss. The 3rd Hokage was not as surprised as Jiraiya. He calmly took a puff of cigarette, and then continued slowly. As a genius puppeteer, Scorpion was able to die at the hands of a puppet. I think this is not a bad ending for him. As for whose puppet Scorpion died at, you'll know it when the light curtain counts Scorpion in the second half. Exhaling a puff of smoke, the 3rd Hokage looked at Jiraiya with a slightly raised corner of his mouth. Good disciple, your master has taught you another lesson, remember it. What do you want to remember? Don't go too far, old man, I don't have money to pay the so-called tuition. Jiraiya has no money either. The 3rd Hokage certainly doesn't believe it. But he also knows that he can't get money from Jiraiya. Stingy. I'm really sorry for being a stingy. Haha, I accept your apology and forgive you. Jiraiya. While the 3rd Hokage and Jiraiya were arguing, Namikaze Minato and Kakashi were staring at the affair on the screen. Kakashi, this should be Obito, right? Yeah, it's almost certain, most likely him. Obito's features are quite easy to recognize, and he is the only one in the Akatsuki organization who wears a vortex mask on his face. Logically, he joined the Akatsuki organization as Madara. Why did Pain say he was an intern in the organization when he introduced him? I'm also surprised by this. As a ninja of the new era, Kakashi didn't know Uchiha Madara. It can only be seen from the limited information that Uchiha Madara is an extremely domineering and conceited man. If Uchiha Madara really wants to join the Akatsuki organization, he should also show his true face and invite the leader of the organization to fight. The winner goes up and the loser goes down. How could he be like Obito, who not only wore a mask to hide his head and showed his tail, but was also willing to be an intern of the Akatsuki organization, and acted crazy and stupid in front of Deidara? Didn't Nagato and other people in the Akatsuki organization doubt that this guy was not Uchiha Madara at all? It seems that there are some secrets that we don't know about this. Later, the Akatsuki organization found that Deidara was average in demolition, but was a first-class hand at catching wild game, so they arranged him to catch the saltwater turtle, the 3-tailed turtle. The Kakuza of the finance department also kindly took Deidara's hand. Based on the traditional blasting skills that cannot be lost, Deidara pinched a few pieces of mud and directly blew up the pond, completing the task perfectly. The hard-working Deidara took on the organization's tasks without stopping. Before he tied the 1-tailed turtle, the organization's cross-dressing boss Orochimaru defected from the Akatsuki organization. Faced with betrayal, the Akatsuki organization immediately issued a hunting order, wanting to kill Orochimaru and recover the ring that represents the official membership of the Akatsuki organization. Seeing this, Orochimaru touched the empty ring that he had been wearing on his hand. Orochimaru, if Nagato asks me for the ring on your hand, should I agree or not? Hehehe. Orochimaru smiled, looked at Jiraiya, and replied indifferently. Whether you agree or not, I won't return it. Damn it, I, the Hokage, have no weight in your eyes, right? To be honest, Orochimaru really didn't regard Jiraiya as the Hokage. From the beginning to the end, Jiraiya was the idiot in his heart. It seems that I was wrong, you still have advantages. Oh? What advantages? Jiraiya was surprised. From childhood to adulthood, Orochimaru rarely praised him. So, when Orochimaru said that he also had advantages, Jiraiya immediately perked up. The advantage is that you're very self-aware. I knew that nothing good would come out of your mouth. Ha, you know that and you still ask. Jiraiya. But things did not go as planned. The Akatsuki organization sent people to hunt for Orochimaru for a long time, but they have not been able to kill Orochimaru, which has put this mission on hold. When Deidara, who was free, was about to kill Orochimaru, the intelligence department informed him that the snake-skinned monster was killed by a man named Sasuke. In addition, Deidara was humiliated by Naruto last time, so he decided to kill Sasuke, get his own cards back, and then turn around and deal with Naruto. Deidara, who was only 19 years old, took on two of the most dangerous jobs in Naruto by himself, and the word death appeared faintly above his head. The previous few videos let us know that Uzumaki Naruto is the so-called child of destiny in this world, which is commonly known as the protagonist. Tobirama's office. After a series of comedy operations by Mito, the office returned to silence. At this time, Tobirama Senju was also analyzing the information revealed by the light curtain. Tobirama Senju didn't care much about the one-tailed Jinchuriki Gaara, the bomb maniac Deidara, and the genius puppeteer Sasori. He cared about the people who could change the entire ninja world. For example, his elder brother Hashirama Senju and Uchiha Madara in the past. Later, the child of destiny Uzumaki Naruto, and the somewhat stupid behind-the-scenes mastermind Uchiha Obito. Now, perhaps Uchiha Sasuke should be added. If nothing unexpected happens, this Uchiha Sasuke should be the male second of the work Naruto. TSK, God favors Uchiha so much. Not only did he produce powerful ninjas such as Uchiha Madara, Uchiha Shinsei, and Uchiha Itachi, but even the male second of the work is from Uchiha Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed at the side, and Danzo here immediately said, yes, the Uchiha clan was directly exterminated because of the favor. Who do you think is to blame for the extermination of the Uchiha clan? Kagami couldn't stand hearing about the extermination of the clan the most. Danzo was trying to provoke Hiruzen, but he offended Kagami again. Sorry, Kagami, I didn't think so much. Yes, subconscious behavior can truly reflect a person's inner thoughts. Danzo's apology had originally eased Kagami's expression a little, but Sarutobi Hiruzen watched the fun and didn't mind making trouble, and was crazy about adding fuel to the fire. Chapter 190 Deidara. How to lose when a dragon rides on your face. Hiruzen, shut up. I won't. Who told you to choke me first? Seeing that Kagami's eyes turned cold again, Danzo was so angry. In order to calm Kagami's anger, he also became ruthless and slapped himself hard in front of everyone. This slap stunned the onlookers on the side. You are worthy of being Danzo, you are bold enough and shameless enough. Hiruzen, you just wait for me. I'm waiting. Danzo looked at Hiruzen gritting his teeth, while Hiruzen was very calm. This was the first time that Hashirama Senju had seen such a situation. He remembered that when Danzo and Hiruzen were young, they had a very good relationship, so good that they almost wore the same pants. Why did they grow up like enemies who killed their fathers and disliked each other? Tobirama, don't you care about the two of them? Senju Tobirama shook his head and replied, let them do what the disciples do, as long as they don't kill anyone. Hearing this, Senju Hashirama looked at Senju Tobirama in surprise. I didn't realize that you have such avant-garde ideas, Tobirama. ? Senju Tobirama was confused and didn't know what his elder brother was talking about. He just expressed his normal views on the dispute between Hiruzen and Danzo. How could his thoughts be avant-garde? Don't worry, brother. At this time, Senju Hashirama patted Tobirama's shoulder and said in the tone of an experienced person, men and men cannot have children, so you don't have to worry that they will kill each other. Senju Tobirama. Sorry, big brother. Maybe I made some mistakes when cloning your body, and damaged the brain of your body. How about you die first, and I will clone a new body for you. Well, forget it. I think this body is good. Thinking of the portrait of Madara on his chest, Hashirama said something else. Well, it's good in every sense. Seeing Hashirama like this, Tobirama was completely powerless to complain. He had to turn around and said to his sister-in-law Mito, "Sister-in-law, big brother will be in your care in the future. Please make sure that he understands the correct physiological knowledge and thinks less about those things." Mito was eating melon seeds while watching the video on the light screen. She was watching it with great interest. She didn't pay too much attention to the conversation between the two Senju brothers. She was a little dazed when she heard Tobirama calling her. "Tobirama, what do you mean? Big brother and Uchiha Madara have no future." Uzumaki Mito's little hand trembled, and she almost shook off all the melon seeds. She stared at Tobirama with wide eyes, as if asking him, "What the hell are you talking about?" After a long search, Madara finally found Sasuke. While Sasuke didn't find him, he immediately threw two explosive chickens to give Sasuke warning. Sasuke reacted quickly, and immediately used snake skin to defend himself and opened the Sharingan. While Madara was thinking, Sasuke asked Madara with a dio look on his face, "Where was the Uchiha 1 against 7? After listening, Madara felt that the guy on the opposite side was worthy at being Itachi's younger brother, and he was so annoying. Madara, who was so angry, didn't care about anything, threw out the explosive chicken and started to bomb Sasuke crazily. Later, he spit out some mud dolls from the mouth in his hand, and used physical skills to attack Sasuke, trying to consume Sasuke's physical strength and blow him up at the same time. Faced with such an attack, Sasuke, who had opened his Sharingan, used the snake skin movement he learned from Orochimaru to avoid the explosion of the chicken. Seeing this, Madara played a tactical trick and successfully wrapped Sasuke with clay, releasing a stronger bond to blow up this annoying guy. At this moment, Sasuke used the strongest substitution technique in Naruto to avoid the attack. Seeing that the explosion was avoided by a say yes again, Madara was too lazy to play tactics and began to increase the intensity. I saw Madara quickly pinched a C2 dragon, the dragon's mouth spit out fragrance, and released a small dragon to harass Sasuke. The C2 dragon also dragged Madara to the sky on the spot to avoid Sasuke's lightning escape. Afei also buried the detonating clay in the ground according to Madara's instructions, trapping Sasuke in a small mine array. With himself in the sky, Afei on the ground, and a minefield made of detonating clay on the ground around, Madara, who was confident of winning, controlled the C2 dragon to fly above Sasuke, and said confidently, "How can I lose this flying dragon? Sasuke, you can win, right?" On the light screen, Uchiha Sasuke was in a dangerous situation. There were clay dragons released by the C2 dragon above, and a minefield of detonating clay below. If he was not careful, Sasuke might be blown into a pool of blood and flesh. Stupid, the timeline on the light screen is the scene before I went to find Itachi. Since I defeated Itachi later, then this battle against Madara was naturally won by me. Naruto's concern warmed Sasuke's heart, but he still habitually called him a fool. Naruto didn't care about this. Anyway, he had long been accustomed to being called that. Besides, he actually admitted that in some aspects, he was indeed not as smart as Sasuke. It's good to win. Alas, I won. Why are you sighing? Nothing, I just feel a little regretful that I didn't avenge Gaara myself. Don't worry, you still have a chance. After saying this, Sasuke no longer paid attention to Naruto. The battle on the light screen was his future self. Watching such a battle was very valuable for him now. Seeing that Sasuke ignored him, Naruto did not entangle, but watched the light screen carefully with everyone. He didn't want to miss this wonderful battle. Facing the double attack from the sky and the ground, Sasuke activated the second state of the curse seal and used the two big goose paws behind him to resist the explosion. However, Madara's explosion was indeed powerful enough, and one of Sasuke's goose paws was blown up. Because there was still explosive clay underground around, Sasuke didn't dare to move around casually. And Madara rode the C2 dragon and continued to attack from the air. The situation was very good. However, Sasuke did not relax in the face of the decline. He stepped on the knife stuck in the ground, jumped up with the remaining half of the goosefoot wing, used the ninja tool to feint, interfered with Madara, and then used the grenade to cut off the wings of C2 dragon, and used the iron wire to control the ninja tool to make a comeback and nail Madara's arms. After being safe, he threw out his snake hand to wrap around the nearest tree and left the minefield. SAS completed this wave of operations in one go, enjoying the silky and wonderful, which instantly reversed the situation on the field. It really fulfilled the old saying, It is really not advisable to open champagne at halving. Chapter 191 The Terrifying C4 Bomb. This Uchiha boy is a good fighter. In Tobirama's office, Senju Hashirama gave a high evaluation of Sasuke's operation. Don't change the subject. Tell me honestly, what secret do you have with Uchiha Madara? Just now, what Senju Tobirama said to Uzumaki Mito was enough to confuse the latter. After finally recovering, the more she thought about it, the more she felt that there was something wrong with the relationship between her husband and Uchiha Madara. As Hashirama's wife, she felt that Hashirama's relationship with Madara was better than that with her. This was an extremely wrong situation. Therefore, Mito grabbed Hashirama's shoulders on the spot, showing an attitude of if you don't tell me, I will ask you to the end. In this regard, Senju Hashirama was helpless. He dared to swear that the relationship between him and Madara was just a simple friendship and brotherhood, which was different from the kind of relationship that Tobirama and Mito understood. As he said, it is impossible for two grown men to have children. That is to say, if one of you and Madara can have a child, you will abandon me and choose Uchiha Madara. Hearing this, Senju Hashirama opened his mouth in shock. He did not expect that Mito, who had regained his lively nature, would have such a big imagination. Brother, if you want, I can clone a female body for Madara or you. When Senju Hashirama racked his brains and thought about how to appease Mito, his good brother ran out and stabbed him, making Hashirama have the urge to slap Tobirama to death for the first time. Little kid, go play somewhere else. He is still the Hokage. Don't you know that when adults are talking, children should not interrupt? Brother, I'm already in my 40s, I don't look like a child at all. Ha, don't say you're in your 40s, even if you're 80 years old, as long as you, an old virgin, don't get married, you will always be a little kid in my mind. After saying this, Danzo secretly praised the shop Amy in his heart. Now, he had a good reason to introduce a girl to Mr. Tobirama. What's wrong with being a virgin? Women will only affect the speed of my sword drawing. Then according to what you said, I married your eldest sister-in-law, and you didn't marry a wife. With this increase and decrease, you can beat me. It's been a long time since we two brothers have sparred. How about we find a place to spar after watching the light screen video? Forget it, I have a lot of official business to deal with tomorrow. Turning around calmly, Tobirama was so angry. He really had no way to refute the problem of strength. If Tobirama had a chance to win, he would fight for everything to smash the broken mouth. It was so infuriating. It was a pity that Tobirama didn't even have a chance to win. No, talk to me for a while. Senju Hashirama regretted a little, thinking that what he said to Tobirama was a bit harsh, which made his brother not talk to him. Now that there is no brother to act as a troublemaker, he will continue to face Mito's problem. No, I can't bear this kind of weird problem alone. I have to think of a way to trick Madara back. Sasuke's series of operations reversed the situation on the field instantly. Madara, who had the upper hand, was instantly injured in both hands and his staff uniform was blown away. Madara, who was so angry that he exploded, quickly counterattacked and spit mud to create a C4 bomb that looked like himself. This bomb expanded rapidly. After Madara finished reading the bar with Arta's explosion, the C4 broke into several small bombs. These bombs can be brought into the body with the breathing of the creature, destroying the flesh at the cellular level. It can be said that it is unique in the world. No way, is this Madara's bomb so powerful? Looking at the light screen, some birds, chameleons and other creatures were broken into pieces by the small bomb split from the C4 and then disappeared. Such power made the 5th generation Jiraiya and others scalp numb. No one of the official members of the Akatsuki organization should be underestimated. At the beginning of the video, the Third Hokage and Jiraiya and others still looked down on Madara. On the one hand, it was because Madara was a disciple of Unuki, and there was a generation gap between him and Jiraiya and others. On the other hand, it was because Madara was too young. A little comparison will tell you. Jiraiya and his two companions were already 33 years old when they were given the title of Sannin by Hanzo of the Salamander. Sarutobi Hiruzen became the Hokage of Konoha when he was about 28 or 29 years old. Even if Madara has some strength, his age is a disadvantage. In their opinion, how powerful can a 19-year-old be? However, when they saw the power of the C4 bomb, they all put aside their contempt for Madara. The power of this bomb is really a bit outrageous. It destroys the body at the cellular level. In other words, as long as a little bit of this bomb is inhaled, the person will be gone. I don't know how Sasuke on the light curtain won. What a coincidence, I want to know too. Madara's C4 bomb is really outrageous, but Sasuke has the Sharingan. In the world of the Sharingan, Deidara's clay is shape-colored. Sasuke easily saw through Deidara's explosion range, and set up an illusion to confuse Deidara, and then sneaked through his chest. But it was only Deidara's mud clone that was penetrated. After all, when he was kidnapped by Itachi into the Akatsuki organization in his early years, the two had fought each other, which gave him some experience in fighting the Sharingan, so it was not easy to let him be tricked by the Sharingan's illusion. TSK, it turns out to be the Sharingan. This is their Uchiha bloodliner, Jiraiya, you can't envy it. What a joke, I'm the dignified Hokage of Konoha, one of the legendary three ninjas, the Toad Sage Jiraiya of Mount Myoboku, would envy the Uchiha Sharingan. Jiraiya said it in a firm and righteous manner. In this regard, the third Hokage nodded, indicating that he believed what he said. Since the Sharingan can see through the shape color of the C4 bomb, is it possible that the Byakugan can also see through it? Compared to the Sharingan, the Byakugan's insight is even better. It should be able to see the shape color of the C4 bomb clearly. Then old man, remember to remind me that if we go toward the Akatsuki organization, there must be a ninja from the Hyuga family in each team to avoid encountering Deidara's C4 bomb. Don't worry, I'm not senile yet. If you forget, I'll remind you. Well, I'm just in case. For a dangerous person like Deidara, I think it would be better to let Unoki deal with it personally. Hearing this, the third Hokage looked at Jiraiya with a little surprise and asked, do you have any ideas? A little bit, but I need to discuss it with Shikaku to make the plan more perfect. Chapter 192. Deidara was severely weakened by the patch. Deidara saw through the illusion used by Sasuke, and used the mud clone to deceive Sasuke, but he himself ambushed in the bird's body. When Sasuke was inserted into the chest of the mud clone and was imprisoned, Deidara's real body appeared at Sasuke's feet, spitting out C4 from his mouth to wrap him in the bomb. The chakra of both parties was not enough at this time, and the real victory or defeat was revealed at this moment. Sasuke used Raikiri to drill out of the explosion area, holding the lightning in his hand to fight Deidara. Seeing that the situation was not good, Deidara shouted and detonated C4. Sasuke was better at timing and was one step faster than Deidara. But this can't be blamed on Deidara, after all, he still had to prevent the bomb from exploding to avoid hurting himself. The two fell into a small forest together with almost exhaustion. Without a moment's rest, the two landed and started a hand-to-hand fight. At this time, the work has an urgent setting of 800 miles, which is the clay that can restrain Deidara with lightning escape. What do you mean? Did you find that Sasuke was not easy to agree to, so you added a patch temporarily? The 5th generation Jiraiya has the most say in adding patches. When he wrote the book, especially the first book, he did a lot of crazy patching at the end. The protagonist can't beat the enemy. Add a patch. The protagonist's behavior logic is a little wrong. Add a patch. It can be said that the 5th generation Jiraiya has added patches and gained experience. Anyway, as long as the plot of the novel encounters a major change or doesn't know how to move forward, then add a patch. However, the work is the work. It is inevitable that there will be some omissions at the beginning of the design, and the loopholes will be filled by adding settings later. The people present actually agree. It's just that the work Naruto is closely related to them after all. It is obviously inappropriate to look at Naruto as a simple work. Is Deidara's explosive ninjutsu explosion style or earth style? We must clarify this. Well, we can ask Kozuki later. In the animation, Sasuke explained that all the seals Deidara used were earth style, which should be restrained by lightning style. The Deidara explosion clay series given in the official book is a secret, and it does not mention whether it is earth style or explosion style, so I won't make up my mind here. The official book does not have the correct answer, so let's use the characters in it to prove it. During the 4th Shinobi World War, Hanzo, who was resurrected by the Impure World reincarnation, called Deidara explosion style kid. And Deidara also said that he used explosion style. From this, it can be seen that this is eating the setting and the book. With Hanzo and Deidara's own certification, this detonating clay should be explosion release, right? Not necessarily. The third Hokage glanced at Kakashi who was speaking and explained. After all, Hanzo didn't know Deidara. It's reasonable for him to mistake the detonating clay for explosion release just by seeing it explode. Deidara himself could also say that he envied people who could use explosion release, so he developed such a secret technique of earth release that is similar to explosion release. Kakashi thought that the third Hokage was just arguing. Hanzo was easy to say, but Deidara was not a retard, and he didn't even know what he could do. As for the claim that he envied explosion release and developed detonating clay, it was even more ridiculous. Kakashi absolutely didn't believe that Deidara could develop detonating clay on his own at the age of 9. If this was true, then Deidara would be the #1 genius in the ninja world. But thinking in your heart is one thing, and saying it out loud is another. In order to avoid trouble, Kakashi could only say, "The third Hokage is right." What the hell? Like Kakashi, Jiraiya did not believe the third Hokage's explanation. As the fifth Hokage of Konoha, Jiraiya did not have to worry as much as Kakashi did, and he said what he wanted to say on the spot. "Old man, your mind is so active, why don't you learn to write novels with me? I think you want to peek into the bathhouse and are afraid of being discovered, so you want to drag me as a scapegoat. How can you insult someone's innocent material? Can it be called peeping?" Hilly. The third Hokage sneered, took out a small crystal ball from his pocket, and said, "I have a crystal ball in my hand, why do I need to peep? You were a teacher, this peeping is not, it is the telescope technique, can you teach me?" After saying that, Jiraiya looked around with a guilty conscience. He found that everyone was looking at him with a contemptuous look. Ahem. Don't get me wrong. The main reason why I want to learn the telescope technique is to monitor Konoha and for the safety of the village. Haha, do you think we will believe it? Looking at Kushina who was talking, Jiraiya replied with a lack of confidence, "This. We should believe it, right? But I really want to spit you to death. Stay away from our Minato in the future and don't lead him astray. Then you can rest assured that Naruto will follow me. Aren't you worried that I will teach Naruto bad things? How can that be the same?" Kushina rolled her eyes at Jiraiya, touched Naruto's head, and then continued, "Minato is my husband. He can only be naughty with me, but Naruto is different. I wish he would bring me 10 or 8 daughters-in-law, so that our Uzumaki family can expand, make a comeback, become bigger and stronger, and create glory again." Everyone was speechless. Kushina's reason was really tough. It was just a bit hard for Naruto. If he really wants to marry so many wives, I wonder if his waist can bear it. "Mom, Naruto blushed and forgot what he wanted to say. Haha, Minato, look, our son is so happy that he can't speak." "Kushina, is there a possibility that Naruto was shy?" "That won't do, son, you must remember that you can't be shy when chasing girls, you have to show your fathers." Okay, Kushina, stop talking for now, let's continue watching the light screen." Seeing that Kushina was about to tell him about his childhood embarrassment, Minato quickly hugged his wife and stopped her from continuing. Anyway, it was just a bunch of nonsense, and Sasuke told the little secret that Deidara was afraid of lightning release. In addition, Sasuke had been harassing Deidara with the illusion of the Sharingan, and constantly asking about the whereabouts of the 1-on-7, which made Aki strongly believe that Sasuke's expression and eyes were quite disdainful of him, looking down on his enthusiasm for the blasting industry and his pursuit of bomb art. Deidara was furious and tore off his underwear, wanting to use his ultimate art to die with Sasuke. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 193 Deidara completes inventory. The art that Deidara believes in is explosion, and the ultimate art he wants to use on Sasuke is also explosion. Yes, it is self-explosion. Seeing Deidara's expression that he is going to drag you to hell, Sasuke was stunned at the time. "Sasuke, I just want to ask where the 1-on-7 is it necessary to fight so hard? And my character is a faceless young man, I don't mean to look down on you at all." However, Deidara exploded as soon as he said it, and the radius of the explosion was as much as 10 kilometers. Before he died, Deidara also muttered, "I'm sorry, Afei." Because he felt that Afei could not escape and would definitely die under his own explosion. In the end, Deidara muttered, "Art is explosion," and then he turned into a flaming Patrick on the spot, and was blown into slag by his own explosion. As for Sasuke, he finally survived successfully with the halo of the second male lead. The Akatsuki organization learned through Zetsu that after Deidara, the production worker of the blasting assembly line, died, they all mourned in silence. In this way, employee Deidara, work number Kinglong, finally left the Akatsuki organization due to death. 10 kilometers? Deidara's final self-explosion was so powerful. On the light screen, Deidara's devastating self-explosion unfolded in front of everyone's eyes. Wherever the explosion hit, everything turned into ashes. This kind of power was enough to make Senju Hashirama take it seriously. Even if I was hit, I would probably be injured. Senju Tobirama glanced at Hashirama, who was speaking. He really wanted to complain to his elder brother. Can someone else's attack with his life only hurt you? Can't even cause serious injury? Are you still a human being? But when he thought of Hashirama's mouth that could make people angry to death, Tobirama decided not to complain. But he didn't go to talk to Hashirama, but Hashirama took the initiative to ask him. Tobirama, if you encounter Deidara's self-explosion, what will you do? Tobirama sneered, but still couldn't help it, and replied. How simple, I know the Flying Thunder God technique. Deidara's self-explosion is not a threat to me at all. Brother, you can't do this. Senju Hashirama heard Tobirama's answer and immediately shook his head. You always rely on these fancy abilities, you will never become a strong man. Anyway, I won't be like you, resisting like a fool. I'm not a fool, how can I resist it with my body? At this time, using the word release ranking technique, it is likely that Deidara's self-explosion can be resisted. Oh, brother, you don't know word release, why am I telling you this? At this moment, Tobirama's desire to find his father Senju Butsuma's body organization was stronger than ever. He, as a younger brother, has completely become a younger brother. If he wants to punish his elder brother, he can only let his father appear. Unfortunately, with the passage of time and the changes of the times, the bodies of his father Senju Fushima and his brothers have long disappeared without a trace. The power of Deidara's self-explosion surprised even Senju Hashirama. The Third Hokage was also surprised by the power of Deidara's self-explosion. He didn't expect that the apprentice of his old rival would have such a trick of longevity of heaven and earth in the end. Wherever the explosion went, there was really no grass left. Sasuke, how did you escape this explosion? There were actually quite a few people who could escape Deidara's self-explosion. Namikaze Minato could use Flying Thunder God to dodge, and Hatake Seikumo could also use his top-notch reflexes and speed to escape in advance. Jiraiya and the Third Hokage, who have summoned beasts, only need to use reverse summoning. Therefore, in the eyes of these people, Sasuke, who signed his name in the summoning contract of Raichi Cave, would most likely use reverse summoning to escape the explosion. Among the people present, only Naruto asked Sasuke stupidly. It's probably reverse summoning. After Sasuke said this, Naruto also reacted. He gently hit his head and said with a playful smile, "Hehe, why didn't I think of it? You are different from me." Sasuke shook his head and looked at Naruto seriously and said, "You have the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. You can activate the Tailed Beast mode to protect yourself. Although you may be seriously injured, you will definitely not die. I'm different. The power of the curse seal is not enough for me to survive this explosion safely. I can only rely on reverse summoning to avoid it." Hearing this, everyone present nodded. What Sasuke said was the same as what they analyzed. Jiraiya, just when everyone was praising Sasuke's response, the Third Hokage whispered to Jiraiya, "Don't let Deidara go back to the Hidden Rock Village." The fifth Jiraiya nodded, and he didn't want Deidara to go back to the Hidden Rock Village. At first, he wanted Uthnuki to deal with Deidara, just because he didn't want to encounter Deidara, the explosion maniac, when fighting the Akatsuki organization, which would cause a large-scale loss of Konoha's personnel. However, after seeing that Deidara had another trick of self-destruction, he, like the Third Hokage, had the idea of not letting Deidara return to the Hidden Rock Village. The power of this self-destruction is really too great. Judging from the destructive power shown on the light screen, this self-destruction is already more powerful than the power of many tailed beast balls. If Deidara really returned to the Hidden Rock Village, it would undoubtedly allow Uthnuki to master a big killer that everyone would be afraid of. This is what the Third Hokage and his friends didn't want to see. It seems that the plan needs to be slightly modified. Uthnuki still needs to talk to him, just as a favor to him. As for whether Deidara will return to the Hidden Rock Village, and whether Deidara will be dead or alive at the time, it is hard to say. Then it was the period of the Fourth Ninja World War, when Deidara was resurrected by the Impure World reincarnation, and his personality was directly destroyed. He was not afraid of breaking Gaara's hand before, and he was so steady and handsome. He was 19 years old, but he became a funny guy after being trapped by the Impure World reincarnation. In addition to being suppressed by the trap, he was also complained by the soldiers of the Ninja Alliance as a nagging existence. He jumped from the Blue Dragon brother of the Akatsuki organization to an Impure World reincarnation soldier. Of course, the later plot does not affect Deidara's significance in the whole work. Deidara has different artistic concepts from his old colleague Sasori. The latter believes that the pursuit of eternity is to retain a cherished moment. Deidara believes that capturing moments is to get eternal shock. Throughout the story, Deidara's heartfelt pursuit of art is the purest. He is not bound by Sasori's relatives, nor is he bound by the sect of Diomao, Fadon. He is devoted to studying his own unique artistic concepts and has brought So's hasty play with mud to the extreme. He is also conscientious in his career, and he keeps receiving tasks from the Akatsuki organization. If Ofunuki had learned some youth education and given some guidance, the ninja world might have one less terrorist with explosives in his body and one more director of the ninja world's #1 blasting and demolition office. His future would be bright. Why would he have to stay in the small factory of the Akatsuki organization and do assembly line work of kneading mud? Maybe fate has secretly failed Didora, but art is the momentary passion brewed from cold emotions. Even if the road of life is too short, Didora finally implemented his fleeting art and blossomed in the vast world. Chapter 194. Red Sand Scorpion. Even Didora was resurrected by the impure world reincarnation. When seeing the impure world Didora appear on the screen, the 5th generation Jiraiya and others all had the same idea. That is, the immortal body of the impure world body plus Didora's self-explosion. Is this combination too unsolvable? Fortunately, the light screen did not show this. Didora was tripped into a puppet shortly after his appearance. If I am not mistaken, there should be lightning chakra in this puppet, which can just restrain Didora's clay. This also shows that Didora's clay bomb is not a blast escape, but a kind of earth escape. With this understanding, Jiraiya breathed a sigh of relief. Didora, in terms of how strong his heart power is actually just like that, otherwise he would not have been defeated by Sasuke, who still has the 3 Magatama Sharingan. But how weak is he? Gaara disagrees. No matter how many external factors Didora had when fighting Gaara. Anyway, he won, and took Gaara back to the base of the Akatsuki organization, drained the chakra of the One Tail, and caused Gaara's death. For a person like Didora, the most suitable place to display his explosive power is on the battlefield. With the information that Didora is afraid of the lightning release ninjutsu, the ninjas of Konoha will have more room to maneuver when facing Didora in the future. Of course, the best way to prevent the Konoha ninjas from touching Didora is to kill Didora in advance before the war with the Akatsuki organization. Thinking of this, Jiraiya decided to have a good chat with Shikaku tomorrow, and come up with a way to sell Ofunuki a favor and kill Didora in advance. It's a pity that Obito didn't know what was wrong with him. He didn't return to Konoha for so long. Otherwise, with him as a semi-undercover, he could just coax Didora out directly, and there would be no need to make so much trouble. In the Akatsuki organization, there is a guy who is ugly, but handsome. He alone symbolizes the unparalleled space of figurine technology. Among countless figurine masters, he stands out in the industry with his extraordinary talent and personal understanding. Puppetry flourished in his hands. The elders transformed their bodies because of him, and the younger generations fell in love with their puppets because of him. Finally, puppetry gradually faded and faded after the death of this talent. He is the protagonist of this issue, Nicholas the Old Scorpion. Tobirama, what is this puppetry? Senju Hashirama knew that the people who could make the light curtain in front of him take inventory had more or less a unique skill. This was the case with Didora in the first half, who surprised Senju Hashirama with his self-explosion. And Scorpion in the second half, his specialty should be the so-called puppetry. But before Senju Hashirama, the Sand Village was still ruled by the first generation of Hokage, and the Sand Village at the time did not know any puppetry. The wooden device that was shown on the screen just now, which locked Edo Tensei Didora inside, is a puppet, and the so-called puppetry is the secret technique of controlling this kind of puppet. Controlling a wooden puppet? Isn't that very weak? Hashirama was a little confused. Is it really necessary to bring up a wooden puppet that he could smash with one punch? Do you think everyone is as strong as a monster like you? After a little complaint, Tobirama explained to Hashirama seriously. Puppetry is a unique secret technique developed by the second Hokage of the Sand Village, Samon. Samon. Is he the bald guy standing behind that first Hokage when I was discussing the matter of the tailed beasts with the other 4 Hokages? Yes. Is he the bald guy with a blue dragon and a black dragon claw-shaped tattoo on his head and right eye, and 2 brown braids on the back of his head? Yes. Yes, brother, if you want to continue listening to me introduce puppetry, then shut up first. Okay, go ahead, go ahead. Senju Hashirama awkwardly shook his head and didn't ask any more questions. And Senju Tobirama just sighed slightly, and continued. The upper limit of puppetry is indeed not high for people like us, but for ordinary ninjas, it can indeed be regarded as a good means. The strength of the puppet mainly depends on the ability of the puppeteer and the materials used to make the puppet. According to the division of functions, it can also be divided into attack puppets, defensive puppets, capture puppets and so on. In general, the upper limit of puppetry is not high, but it can enrich the attack methods of the Sand Village ninjas. After listening to Tobirama's introduction, Senju Hashirama was still a little confused. Even Tobirama, you said that the upper limit is not high, so why does Guanyu deliberately count this person named Scorpion? Maybe this person named Scorpion further improved the puppetry and let the puppetry enter a higher level. After all, Guanyu said that the puppetry was carried forward in his hands. Well, Tobirama, you're right. After all, we are separated from them by decades. In such a long time, anything can happen. It is normal for some geniuses to appear. Yes, that's probably the case. Red Sand Scorpion. Seikomo, do you have anything to say? Seeing Guanyu officially count Scorpion, the Third Hokage couldn't help but think of the World War II when Konoha fought against the Sand Village. At the time, the Sand Village was not as weak as it is now. The puppet army composed of Kyo siblings caused great casualties to the Konoha ninja. In order to stop this situation, the Third Hokage decided to let Itachi Seikomo lead a team of people to the heart of Sand Village to implement the decapitation plan. As a result, he happened to run into Scorpion's parents who were also going to the Land of Rain to give a gift to the Konoha ninjas stationed there. Seikomo, whose whereabouts were exposed, said nothing and picked up his knife and started chopping, eventually killing Scorpion's parents. I don't have much to say. The life and death fight on the battlefield is based on each person's ability. Scorpion's parents died in my hands because they were not strong enough. On the other hand, if I died in their hands, it would be because I was not skilled enough. I can't blame anyone. Haha, you're right, but few people can think so clearly and thoroughly. Most people will be immersed in hatred. This is also one of the main reasons why it is so difficult for the ninja world to have peace. Itachi Seikomo shook his head slightly, appearing unusually calm. People will die if they are killed. This is a very simple truth. If Scorpion wants to seek revenge on me, I don't mind sending him down to see his parents and reunite their family. Chapter 195 Human Puppet. The Second Ninja World War was also that childhood of Scorpion. His parents were killed by Wakai's father, Itachi Seikomo, while on a mission. In order to conceal this matter, Scorpion's grandmother Kyo began to teach Scorpion puppet technology to distract the little Scorpion. When he was a little kid, Scorpion made 2 puppets based on his parents, and hugged the 2 puppets every day to comfort himself. This pair of parents' puppets was the first pair of puppets Scorpion made. Good guy, if you don't know the inside story, just looking at the picture displayed on the light screen, Seikomo is simply a heinous crime. He destroyed Scorpion's beautiful life with his own hands and made him a poor child without parents. The words of the 5th generation Jiraiya were recognized by most of the people present. These ninjas kill people like crazy, but it doesn't mean that they don't have ordinary people's feelings. Before being a ninja, they are first of all individuals. When seeing Scorpion using his unskilled puppet control technique to control the 2 puppets of parents to hug him, the more sentimental Hong and Kushina's eyes instantly began to moisten. There is no way. During the ninja war, it was either you kill me or I kill you. There was no mercy. Itachi Seikomo was also helpless. At the time, the 2 sides met, and there was no time to think about anything else. For himself and for his teammates, he had to take the initiative to seize the opportunity, otherwise the death might become them. Even if Seikomo was allowed to choose 10,000 times, he would make the same choice. Time flies, and ordinary puppets obviously can no longer satisfy Scorpion. During this period, Scorpion has honed the level of using poison and making human body transformation puppets to perfection. The 3 main force, broken, puppets, in the hands of Gaara's younger brother, the puppeteer Kankuro, are the toys made by Scorpion in the early days. After that, wooden puppets could no longer meet Scorpion's needs, so he began to kill ninjas from other villages to make human puppets. This includes the later Haruko. So, the ugliness of Haruka was not designed by Scorpion, but he was ugly when he was alive. Human puppet. In Tobirama's office, when seeing the human puppet of Haruko, not only Hashirama exclaimed, but even Tobirama seemed very surprised. Can a human be made into a puppet? At this moment, Tobirama couldn't help but think of the speculation about the ability of the Samsara Eye that the 3rd Hokage and the 5th Hokage Jiraiya told him. Among them, there is the human puppet. I don't know what the difference is between the puppet controlled by the Samsara Eye and the human puppet made by Scorpion. Because of the time difference, when the Third Hokage was in the impure world, Tobirama and his party had already returned to their own time and space. This led to the Third Hokage and others knowing from Danzo that Nagato could control at least 5 Samsara-eye puppets, but Tobirama only knew that the Samsara-eye could control puppets made by humans. As for how many puppets it could control and what kind of abilities they had, he didn't know anything. But even if he didn't know this, he could guess that the puppets of the two should not be the same. Just look at the Tendo pane shown on the light screen and you'll know that the pair of Samsara eyes cannot be fake. No matter how powerful Scorpion's human puppets are, can they be as powerful as the puppets of the Samsara eyes? No matter whether others believe it or not, Tobirama doesn't believe it anyway. This kid is amazing. The material of the production has changed from wood to human. The difficulty is very great. The first generation is right, and I think the difficulty is high. The ability of the puppets will surely become much stronger accordingly. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at Danzo, who was obviously flattering the first generation, and sighed slightly and said, "It's just that using humans to make puppets feels a bit cruel." Speaking of cruelty, Senju Hashirama looked at his younger brother with disdain and continued, "There is a ruthless man here who doesn't even let the dead go. Compared with him, Scorpion is just a piece of shit." Senju Tobirama. Can you cue me with this? 05205. Kyo said that this grandson is really awesome and she can't control him at all because the land of wind is vast and sparsely populated, resources are scarce, and he also likes spotty painting, and the boy Scorpion's ability to make puppets is unmatched, so he decided to leave Sunagaku and become a social person. Scorpion is worthy of the title of social person. When he left a big gift for Sunagaku and killed the Third Hokage, who was known as the strongest Hokage of the time. The Third Hokage's killing made the Sanjaku village even weaker. No, it turns out that the Third Hokage was killed by their own people. It seems that the fuse of the Third World War was because of the disappearance of the Third Hokage, right? That's right. Due to the long-term disappearance of the Third Hokage, the Sand village was leaderless, and the barbarians in the Kamo village saw an opportunity. They took advantage of the situation and raided the Wind Country. After tasting the sweetness, they immediately declared war on our Fire Country and the Earth Country, wanting to unify the ninja world. If you ask me, the Sand village is still too weak. If they could gain even the slightest advantage in the war against the Kamo village would not dare to declare war on us and the Uegaku. There's nothing we can do. The puppetry of the Sand village is completely defeated by the lightning release and ninja taijutsu of the Kamo village. The puppet's attacks can't even break the defense of the Kamo ninja. How can we fight? Wind release defeats lightning release. Shouldn't the Hokage of the Sand village be proficient in wind release ninjutsu? Hectares, how fresh. It makes it sound as if all our Hokage are proficient in fire release ninjutsu. On the side of the 5th Jiraiya, everyone was still looking at the light screen and discussing some things about the Third World War intensely, but after Orochimaru's words came out, everyone present fell silent. Thinking about it carefully, what Orochimaru said seems to be correct. The first generation Hokage was good at wood style. The second generation Hokage was good at water style. The third generation Hokage, well, he was good at fire style, but not only fire style, he was also good at the other 4 styles of style. The fourth generation Hokage was good at wind and thunder god technique developed by the second generation Hokage. The 5th generation Hokage, Jiraiya, should be good at the psychic technique and the fairy technique of Nyoboku mounting. Among the 5 Hokage, only the 3rd generation Hokage can barely be considered a fire Hokage, and the other 4, except Jiraiya, are not even close. It is outrageous that a Hokage can't be fire. What do you think? Will the 3rd generation Hokage be made into a human puppet by Scorpion? After a period of silence, Jiraiya spoke first. It is very likely. Orochimaru licked his lips and seemed very excited. Because he thought of a very interesting idea. Since others can be made into human puppets by Scorpion, will Scorpion also make himself a human puppet? If Scorpion really did this, does that mean that Scorpion can also live forever? Or even be immortal? No wonder when he was in the Akatsuki organization, Scorpion always talked about eternity. So this is what he meant. Thanks to Biruglo for the 1,500 book coins. Thank you. Chapter 196. Jiraiya the 5th generation. Who is in favor and who is against? When Orochimaru joined the Akatsuki organization, his first partner was Scorpion. One was a biological maniac, the other was a mechanical maniac. The two of them often quarreled in order to obtain more funds. It was during the quarrel that Orochimaru knew what Scorpion was pursuing. That was eternity. At the time, Orochimaru didn't know what eternity Scorpion was pursuing. Even with Orochimaru's ability, the corpse-free transformation he developed could only make him immortal, but not eternal. After all, every time he reincarnates, his soul will weaken a little. One day, when his soul is so weak that he can no longer reincarnate, that is when he dies. Even a confident and conceited person like Orochimaru can't make life eternal, so naturally he can't think that the eternity Scorpion pursues is the eternity of life. But now Orochimaru knows through the light curtain that Scorpion can make human puppets, so he guessed that Scorpion has turned himself into a human puppet. Since Scorpion has become a human puppet, theoretically, as long as the puppet is not bad, Scorpion will not die. Even if we take a step back and say that the puppet is broken, won't Scorpion create another human puppet body? Haha, among all the people I know, only Scorpion can make life eternal. In this regard, I, Orochimaru, would like to call you the strongest. Scorpion's strongest point is to control human puppets made of living people, and the puppets can also use the ninjutsu they used in their lifetime. So the Sandaime of the third generation Kazekage was also taken by Scorpion. This feels a bit outrageous. Can corpse puppets also use ninjutsu? In Tobirama's office, Senju Hashirama saw the third generation Kazekage, who had become a human puppet on the light screen, using his sand ninjutsu to attack the enemy, and immediately complained. Tobirama also felt it was outrageous. He was a scientist after all, and had invented many ninjutsu and forbidden techniques. But he really didn't know how to let a corpse that had been made into a puppet use the ninjutsu of his lifetime, and he had no idea at all. Fortunately, Scorpion doesn't have you, Big Brother, and Madara's corpse, otherwise, wouldn't Scorpion be invincible in his era? The god of Ninja World, Hashirama Senju, and the Shura of Ninja World, Uchiha Madara, joined forces. Just thinking about it makes people's scalp tingle. Well, no matter how talented Scorpion is in puppetry, it is impossible for him to make a skeleton into a puppet and let it use ninjutsu. It's definitely impossible. If Scorpion can really do it, then he is not a genius, but a genius. A genius playing with a skeleton. What kind of hell joke is this? I didn't expect that, Tobirama. You are quite humorous, but why can't you find a wife? Tobirama. If I reply to you again, I will be a dog. Can human puppets use the ninjutsu they used to use in their lifetime? On the side of the 5th generation Jiraiya, everyone was also surprised by this setting. However, unlike Hashirama Senju's imagination, Jiraiya turned to look at Orochimaru and asked, Orochimaru, do you have the cells of the third Kazekage? Jiraiya, what do you want to do? Nothing, I just want to see who is stronger, the third Kazekage who came out of the impure world reincarnation or the third Kazekage who is a human puppet of Scorpion. You are so boring. But after hearing what you said, I also became interested in it. Ha ha ha, aren't you as boring as me? Orochimaru rolled his eyes at Jiraiya and did not answer the question. Instead, he said thoughtfully, if you want to realize this idea, you must get the body tissue of the third Kazekage, but he has been made into a human puppet by Scorpion. Where can I find his body tissue? It doesn't matter. We can't get it here, but the second Kazekage can. Thinking of the age of the third Kazekage and the approximate time of his death, Orochimaru nodded and replied, then I will have to trouble the second Kazekage. I can't wait to see the third Kazekage fight himself. Me too. Hihihi. Hihihi. On the side, the third Hokage covered his face, unable to bear to look directly at his two disciples. You two just spoke too much like villains. One is the Hokage and the other is the director of the research department. You should at least restrain yourself. Old man, your thoughts are too stubborn. Jiraiya curled his lips in disdain, looked around, and continued very domineeringly. Everyone present is a Konoha ninja, and I am the Hokage of Konoha. I said I want to see the third Kazekage fight himself. Who is in favor and who is against? Everyone. You are the Hokage, you have the final say. As we all know, small objects can restrain the joints of puppets, and Scorpion transformed restraint into strength. He is undoubtedly the strongest puppeteer in the world. In the official Ultimate Storm change, Scorpion's experience of joining Akatsuki was added. The situation at the time was like this. As a rebel ninja, he met with Conan who came to persuade him. At this time, Conan sang a sentence in the sky. The big stage of the ninja world, don't come if you have a mother. Jiraiya. Impossible, Conan can't say that. Scorpion replied. I have no father or mother since I was a child, my family is very poor, except for a few figurines. What do you want from me, big sister? Conan looked at him carefully. "Oh, you are quite handsome. I want to persuade you to join the Akatsuki organization." So there was a collision between the soul and the flesh, and the friction between art. Scorpion, who had not transformed himself, was easily suppressed by Conan, and later listened to Conan's persuasion and joined Akatsuki. But Scorpion was angry because he lost to Conan, thinking, "I can be easily persuaded this time, and the result will probably be the same next time." So Scorpion put the plan to transform himself on the agenda. Afterwards, Tengen took Scorpion to recruit Orochimaru, intending to arrange Orochimaru to be Scorpion's teammate. During this period, Scorpion did not believe in Orochimaru, but because of the sharp words of Orochimaru, Tengen was unable to extricate himself and thought that Orochimaru was a rare talent. Orochimaru. Snake. This title is so special, so there was no choice. Scorpion could only let this snake-skinned monster be his teammate, but he was also wary of Orochimaru, because he had a hunch that this snake-skinned snake would definitely snatch the organization's funds from him in the future. Sure enough, Orochimaru, who loves biological research, set his sights on funds as soon as he entered the Akatsuki organization, and the two began to fight for funds. During this period, Scorpion completed the glorious evolution and transformed his entire body into a genderless human puppet with the ability to destroy a country. He secretly rejoiced that the next time he met a woman like Conan who wanted to convince him, it would be nonsense. Sure enough, he also transformed himself into a human puppet. Orochimaru opened his mouth wide, stuck out his tongue, and looked at the scorpion that had been transformed on the light screen. His eyes almost popped out. Orochimaru. Scorpion, give it to me, I want it. Scorpion. Go away Atso in the Inama. Where did Orochimaru get the third Hokage's body tissue from, and then brought him out of the world? I don't understand. Chapter 197 Double Agent Kabuto Yakushi. Orochimaru is very eager to have the technology that can make him lifelong or even immortal. At present, he already has the reincarnation technique and cloning technique as his support for longevity. However, the reincarnation technique has a major flaw. Every time he reincarnates, his soul will be a little weaker. And the cloning technique seems to have no flaws. After all, the body is cloned from his own cells and is completely compatible with his soul. However, the cloning technology has not been clinically tested for a long time, and no one knows whether there will be any sequelae in the future. Now Orochimaru saw Scorpion's human puppet again, and his eyes lit up immediately, and he wanted to obtain this technology. Of course, Orochimaru also knew that there were disadvantages to making himself a human puppet. Apart from other things, at least the sense of taste and digestive system should be gone. He has never heard that puppets can eat. But in Orochimaru's opinion, these are not problems. As long as he can fully understand Scorpion's human puppet technology, when he really needs to transform himself, he only needs to transform the parts that need to be transformed, and he doesn't have to transform his body like Scorpion. As for the problem of organ failure, that is also easy to deal with. Just take it from the clone and replace it. In this way, Orochimaru believes that he can achieve the ultimate immortality in this half-puppet form. It seems that I have to think of a way to get Scorpion's human puppet technology. Well, when Kabuto Yakushi comes back, let him contact Scorpion and see if he can trick him into using the human puppet technology. When Orochimaru and Scorpion became partners, Orochimaru also planted Kabuto Yakushi as a spy next to Scorpion. Unexpectedly, Scorpion admired Kabuto more and asked him to go back and spy on Orochimaru. So, Kabuto Yakushi became a double agent who was spying on both sides. Kabuto is also a double agent. Did you know about this, Orochimaru? Jiraiya and the Third Hokage seem to attach great importance to the matter involving Kabuto. It is impossible not to attach importance to it. Kabuto was revealed by the light curtain and played a very important role in the Fourth War. Originally, the Third Hokage wanted to kill Kabuto Yakushi on the principle of killing the wrong person rather than letting him go. Although Jiraiya was not so extreme, he also wanted to put Kabuto Yakushi in Konoha prison and monitor him day and night. It was Orochimaru who made a guarantee in front of the two of them. He guaranteed that Kabuto Yakushi in the present world would not do those things, so the two of them did not deal with Kabuto Yakushi. Now seeing the light curtain revealing that Kabuto Yakushi was a spy sent by Scorpion to Orochimaru, Jiraiya and the Third Hokage suddenly became uneasy. Since Kabuto was a spy sent by Scorpion, then, was his loyalty to Orochimaru not as high as he showed? Was he fooling Orochimaru all along? Did Orochimaru not know that Kabuto Yakushi was a spy sent by Scorpion? This is what Jiraiya and the Third Hokage wanted to know most. Of course I know. Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya and the Third Hokage and said calmly, I know what you are worried about, but Kabata has always been on my side. The information that Kabata revealed to Scorpion was all unimportant information revealed with my permission. In that case, we can rest assured. Jiraiya and the Third Hokage looked at each other, and the Third Hokage continued to ask, then, does Scorpion know? Scorpion doesn't know that Kabata is my man, and he always thought that Kabata is his man. Haha, Scorpion is really unlucky for offending you, Orochimaru. Hearing what the Third Hokage said, Jiraiya immediately said, yes, old man, you expelled Orochimaru from that village and offended him badly. Many years later, he came back and launched the Konoha collapse plan. If it weren't for the Second Hokage, you would most likely have been killed by him. The Third Hokage looked at Jiraiya, his mouth trembling slightly, his expression seemed a little excited, and it seemed that he wanted to say something dirty. But considering so many people at the scene, the Third Hokage didn't say it in the end, and could only glare at Jiraiya fiercely. Jiraiya. What, was I wrong? Hehe, Jiraiya, you're right. Orochimaru laughed and gave Jiraiya a thumbs up. He was discovered by the Third Hokage because he captured people from his own village for human experiments. While letting him go, he also expelled him from Konoha. Do you want to ask if Orochimaru is cruel? Of course he is cruel. He launched the Konoha collapse plan more because he wanted the Third Hokage to die on the battlefield and become a hero of the village, rather than die in a hospital bed in old age, but he also wanted to avenge what happened that year. Scorpion, who has completed the glorious evolution, usually hides in the puppet shell failure to carry out activities, and does not show his true face. Referring to the battle between the ninja world's broken king and the undefeated mythology, Scorpion knew long ago that the puppet master's close combat had disadvantages, so the Haruka was Scorpion's unknown weapon, with both offensive and defensive capabilities. Later, Orochimaru defected from Akatsuki as expected, and Scorpion, together with Hoshigaki Kizumi and Uchiha Itachi, found Deidara and persuaded him to join the organization. Through Itachi's eyes that made anyone pregnant, Scorpion and Deidara successfully formed a team. In this way, Scorpion went from being an immortal combination with Orochimaru to an artistic duo with Deidara. When the Akatsuki organization began to collect the tailed beasts, Scorpion and Deidara were arranged to capture the one-tailed Jinchuriki Gaara. After Deidara succeeded, Gaara's brother Kankuro, who was like a real brother to him, chased after him and was determined to take Gaara back. Seeing that Kankuro was a puppeteer, and the 3 puppets he used were the ones he had left over from playing with in the past, it was unknown whether it was because of his bad taste or because Scorpion wanted to test the level of puppeteers in the Sand Village today. He asked Deidara to take Gaara away first, leaving him alone to deal with Kankuro. Kankuro was naturally no match for Scorpion, and after being teased for a while, he was directly beaten up by Scorpion. However, Scorpion did not kill Kankuro, but poisoned him. This poison would have killed him, but if it had not, it would have become a foreshadowing for the future. After being poisoned, Kankuro waited for the support of the Konoha card team. Sakura, who learned from Tsunade, also used this to prepare an antidote to cure the Scorpion poison. Sakura will be Tsunade's disciple in the future. Everyone present was a little surprised. These people all knew about the 3 little ones in Team 7. Naruto and Sasuke, needless to say, were strong in both strength and identity background. However, Sakura, who is in the same team, seems a little too mediocre and unknown. Chapter 198 Poor Sakura. When it comes to Haruno Sakura, the first thing that comes to everyone's mind is her 2 teammates, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke. Apart from that, she only has a pretty good shape control ability. As for her status as a top student during her time at the ninja school, no one thinks much of it. To put it bluntly, the ninja world is a place where strength speaks. No matter how good Sakura's theoretical knowledge is, if she can't transform this knowledge into her own strength, then this knowledge is useless. Look at Naruto, he always ranks last in every theoretical exam, but now he has grown into a ninja with good strength. Compared with Naruto and Sasuke, Sakura seems too mediocre. When everyone thought that Sakura would continue to be so mediocre, they suddenly heard the light curtain say that Sakura became Tsunade's disciple, which surprised everyone. Tsunade's vision is very strict. Sakura can catch her eye and be accepted as a disciple, so her future achievements will definitely not be too bad. At least she will be a qualified medical genin. But, Tsunade is still out there gambling and making money. If she doesn't come back to the village, how can Sakura become her apprentice? This is indeed a problem. Touching his chin, Jiraiya the fifth generation thought silently about how to get Tsunade to return to the village and accept Sakura's apprenticeship. As the Hokage, Jiraiya the fifth generation didn't want to see a good ninja seedling being delayed like this. What's more, this is a medical ninja that is scarce in the ninja world. How about using the name of the second generation or the first generation to get Tsunade back? Jiraiya muttered uncertainly. The reason for his uncertainty was because of Tsunade's violent temper. If she knew that he had used the names of her great-grandfather and second-grandfather to trick her into coming back, he might be severely punched by her. When Jiraiya thought of Tsunade's fist, his ribs felt a little painful. No, I can't take the blame. Thinking of this, Jiraiya's expression became stern, and he looked at the third Hokage very seriously and said, "Old man, you don't want to see Sakura, a good seedling, being delayed, right?" The third Hokage didn't know what Jiraiya was thinking, but he was the third generation of the village after all, so he naturally didn't want the good seedlings of the village to be delayed. "Of course I don't want it, Jiraiya, do you have a way?" Jiraiya nodded, pretending to be very embarrassed. "Yes, I have a way to get Tsunade back, that is." The third Hokage really took the bait and asked quickly, "What is it?" "I just need to borrow your name." "My name? What's the use?" The third Hokage was a little confused. If his name was so useful, Tsunade and Jiraiya would not have left the village. "Of course it worked, old man, don't underestimate yourself. In the three of us, you will always be our teacher. We all respect you very much. If you don't believe me, ask Orochimaru." After saying that, Jiraiya turned around and winked at Orochimaru frantically. "Didn't you just say that if it weren't for Mr. Tobirama, I would have been killed by Orochimaru? He will respect me. You must be kidding me." Faced with the third Hokage's disbelief, Jiraiya immediately explained for Orochimaru. "Orochimaru just wants you to die like a hero. He can't bear to see you, a brave teacher, die in a hospital bed in the end. Don't you think so, Orochimaru?" "Really?" The third Hokage looked at Orochimaru suspiciously. Under Jiraiya's crazy hint, Orochimaru resisted the urge to roll his eyes, nodded and replied, "Jiraiya is right. Well, if that's the case, then you can try in my name to see if Tsunade will come back. Anyway, I don't think she will come back. Last time I asked her to come back, she didn't come back. It's a different time now, don't worry, old man, Tsunade will definitely come back. I hope so." After Sakura prepared the antidote and cured Kankuro, Gaara was already dead. Immediately afterwards, Sasori and Tadru were caught up by Kyo and the Konoha team. Since the enemy was divided into two groups, Sasori began a grand battle with Kyo and Haruno Sakura, one man and two women. Is Sakura so strong? She can actually fight this puppet. In the office, Naruto looked at Sakura who was about to fight with Sasori on the light screen, and his face was full of sighs. Because Sakura in the present world does not have a master like Tsunade, her strength ranks at the bottom among the 12 young masters of Konoha. During the Chunin exam, Sakura was able to fight Yamanaka Ino to a draw. Now, Ino can completely defeat Sakura with her family's secret technique. Even if Sakura has to Sakura, it won't work. The gap in strength cannot be made up by a mere second personality. Among the 12 young masters, the only real civilians are Haruno Sakura and Rock Lee. However, Rock Lee has a teacher like Might Guy, who can guide him in his training, while Haruno Sakura has nothing. Expect Kakashi to teach Sakura? He didn't even teach Naruto, so how could he teach Sakura? Therefore, Sakura in the present world is really miserable, with no background, no strength, and no real teacher. How about, Mom, you teach Sakura? Naruto's mind was open, and he wanted his mother to teach Sakura. In his opinion, with his mother's strength, even if Sakura can't reach the level on the light curtain, she is still better than now, right? Don't worry, Naruto. Your lecturer's teacher is already trying to get Senior Tsunade back. If that doesn't work, let Sakura come and learn from me. Kushina touched Naruto's head and didn't say no. She knew that her son Naruto liked this girl named Sakura. But as far as she knew, Sakura liked Uchiha Sasuke, not her own stupid son. Fortunately, she was not a narrow-minded person. She would not refuse to teach her just because Sakura didn't like Naruto. However, she was different from Tsunade. If she really wanted to teach, she should teach some general sealing techniques. After learning, she could work in the sealing class in the village. The identity, status, and remuneration would be much better than Sakura's current situation. As for the Uzumaki clan's sealing techniques, forget it. Unless she married Naruto, she would not teach even her disciple. Facing the double girl combination of Kyo and Sakura, Scorpion swung his tail coquettishly and complained that he didn't like waiting for people, but still gave Kyo enough time to formulate a strategy. After knowing Sakura's ability, Kyo developed a tactic to use Sakura as a puppet, hoping to use Sakura's strange strength to pull Scorpion out of the amber. Under Kyo's manipulation, Sakura dodged Scorpion's rain of ped blossom needles several times, and after getting close, she broke the amber where Scorpion was hiding, revealing her true form. At this point, the true form of Scorpion Diallo, the beautiful anchor, officially appeared in the eyes of Sakura and Kyo. Chapter 199 Kyo Sakura vs Scorpion. Scorpion's face was stunning as soon as it appeared. Sakura never expected that such a sweet man would be hidden inside such an ugly puppet. The genius eyes, half asleep and half awake, were like fireflies in the dark night, and they were so handsome that time froze, as if someone had pressed the time-stop device. The real body appeared in front of Sakura and Kyo, which meant that Scorpion was going to get serious. Without saying any more nonsense, Scorpion directly took out the puppet of the third Hokage. As soon as the third Hokage puppet appeared, Kyo understood why the third Hokage, who was hailed as the strongest Hokage, disappeared for no reason. It turned out that you killed the third Hokage. Second Hokage. Welcome to join the alliance of those who were backstabbed by their subordinates. Third Hokage. The battle began, and Scorpion released countless girlfriends' hands to attack Sakura. Under Kyo's control, Sakura dodged to the limit in a very enchanting posture. Scorpion saw that he failed and took another round of poison gas, but the poison gas was blown away by Sakura's detonation talisman. The rescued Sakura stood up and did not immediately start to fight back, but learned from her teammate Naruto and launched the Kotenzai to try to turn Scorpion back to the right path. Unfortunately, Sakura's mouth-to-mouth skills were not as deep as Naruto's. Scorpion, who was beaked by Sakura, could not help it and threw a few kunai at Sakura, wanting Sakura to die on the spot. Kotenzai. Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina looked at their son with a strange look. Kotenzai and the others knew that it was the exclusive eye technique of Uchiha's main Scheme Sharingan. The ability was to instantly distort a person's will and was also known as the strongest illusion. But can this Kotenzai have such an effect? Thinking of their son in the light curtain and the title of the strongest mouth-to-mouth, the eyes they looked at Naruto became even stranger. Dad, Mom, why are you looking at me like that? It's okay, Mom, I just want to see how your mouth is different from others. Naruto. Puff Sasuke, who always appears to be cold and stern, couldn't help but laugh out loud. As Naruto's teammate, he knows this guy too well. No matter when, no matter who, Naruto always likes to say a few words, regardless of whether others want to listen to him or not, he just wants to talk. But don't say it. Usually, after Naruto's mouth-to-mouth, even the enemy will do something that Sasuke can't understand. For example, let go during the battle, remember Naruto's teachings at the critical moment, and give up the mission. What's more, they will kneel down and repent and surrender on the spot. Sasuke thinks that calling Naruto's mouth-to-mouth Otsutensai is really appropriate. Sasuke, what are you laughing at? Nothing, I just remembered something happy. In an instant, Sasuke's face changed and he returned to his cool appearance, as if it wasn't him who laughed just now. You guys are so weird, I really don't understand you. Naruto pouted his lips in dissatisfaction and continued to look at the light curtain. Faced with Scorpion's kunai attack, Sakura stood there as if she was cast with a freezing spell. At the critical moment, fortunately, Kyo took out the parent puppets, blocked Scorpion's attack, and counter-attacked at the same time. In a flash, the parent puppets used the piano wire of love to cut off countless girlfriends of the winged shadow puppet. Scorpion saw that the situation was not right, controlled the winged shadow to take out the chainsaw, and backhanded a super double. On the other side, the parent puppets picked up the long whip of love and the machete of love to deal with it. The two sides fought back and forth and were in a stalemate, gradually entering the ghost beast mode. After the durability of the weapons on both sides died suddenly, Scorpion used the winged shadow's signature skill, Magnetic Sandion, to control the parent puppet. At the same time, the winged shadow puppet also condensed several hard black sticks and poked at Sakura and Kyo. Helpless Kyo could only control the mother puppet and save Sakura, while she herself had a laser shield with a modified mechanical hand to block Scorpion's attack. However, the iron sand was real iron, and it still stuck Kyo's modified hand. With no puppet to use and one hand missing, Kyo could only control Sakura with one hand to fight. It's bad, the situation is not favorable for the mother-in-law and the little girl. In Tobirama's office, the talkative Senju Hashirama continued to comment on the battle in the light curtain. However, what he said was obviously nonsense. The people present, even the three of them, including Jiraiya, could clearly know that Kyo and Sakura were at a disadvantage. If they didn't come up with something new, it would probably be only a matter of time before they lost. Tobirama, what do you think? Tobirama didn't actually plan to answer this big brother who choked people to death when he spoke. Anyway, he was the one who was hurt in the end, so why bother to find that person to suffer? But his lack of answer didn't mean that Hashirama would not continue to ask. After several consecutive Tobirama, what do you think? Senju Tobirama could only reply. Don't worry, Kyo and Sakura will win. Oh? Tell me quickly, how did you come to such a conclusion? Senju Hashirama looked left and right. Kyo and Sakura's winning rate was less than 10%. He really didn't know where Tobirama's confidence in these two people came from. Intuition. Huh. Are you sure you are not kidding me? Tobirama sneered, believe it or not. Ha, I don't believe it. Scorpion has such a big advantage, and he has the third Hokage puppet in his hand. How can he lose? After all, I am the god of ninja in your mouth. How can I not see through such a small situation? Senju Tobirama did not reply, but just signaled Hashirama with his eyes, asking him to look at the light curtain. This look made Hashirama open his mouth in surprise. At this time, Scorpion received a hint from the director and stopped using the clever black stick. He just used sand to create several extremely low-level geometric shapes, which were the kind that could not be broken apart, as if he had deliberately done it for Sakura to use her super strength. From here, it can be seen that Scorpion has put in enough water to fill a river. Then Scorpion directly used the poisonous sand iron realm to control Sakura, and took up the wind shadow, trying to fly and kill her. However, Sakura had cracked the poison before and had prepared medicine. Sakura, who pretended to be poisoned, suddenly jumped up at the moment when the third-generation wind shadow approached, and smashed the third-generation wind shadow puppet with one punch. To be honest, Sakura's operation can be said to be very showy, which made Scorpion look confused. Scorpion. It's okay that the poison of Hanzo of the Salamander is garbage, but he can even crack my poison, so what's the point of playing tricks? Are you guys in Konoha village still taking chemistry classes now? Because Scorpion did not expect Sakura to be able to crack the poison, the third Hokage puppet was broken, so Scorpion decided to use his own puppet to fight. Thanks to Mason II for the 500 book coins. Thank you. Chapter 200. Hashirama cells and Madara's cells are so terrifying. Don't, Scorpion boy, you were a puppeteer. Your fighting power lies in all kinds of puppets. Don't do it yourself. Don't do it, Scorpion boy. I can't stand you doing this. Tobirama's office. Seeing the situation on the light curtain take a sharp turn for the worse, Senju Hashirama wanted to rush into the light curtain and fight for Scorpion himself. Brother, please restrain yourself a little. Looking at the anxious Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobirama really couldn't bear to watch. Before the resurrection, although Senju Hashirama was very naive and occasionally funny. But it's not like now, he is almost becoming a comedy character. At this moment, Tobirama was thinking, did he really make a mistake when cloning Hashirama's body and added some extra ingredients? Otherwise, how could his brother become like this? Restrained. Why should I restrain myself? Senju Hashirama stood up and crossed his arms, showing the contemptuous attitude of Uchiha Madara. He looked around at the people present and said, we are all family. You shouldn't gossip about me everywhere, right? Hearing this, everyone waved their hands and said that they would not. That's good. Seeing that everyone was very tactful, Senju Hashirama nodded, then put his arm around Tobirama's shoulders and continued, my stupid Ododo, my behavior is actually explained in professional terms in the books. It's called releasing nature. Yes, it's releasing nature. Is your nature to be a funny guy? What's wrong with being a funny guy? I'm happy every day and have no worries. Okay, you can do whatever you want. Ha, I'm the master of my own life. No one can interfere with my freedom. At this moment, Senju Tobirama felt that it should be Uchiha Madara's cells that affected his eldest brother. Just now, Senju Hashirama made the gesture of Uchiha Madara, and now he said that no one can interfere with his freedom. People who don't know him might really think that he is Uchiha Madara, not Senju Hashirama. But that's not right. Uchiha Madara is so conceited and domineering, and he doesn't seem to be a fool. Could it be that the combination of Hashirama's cells and Madara's cells made his big brother become like this? Doesn't that mean that Madara, who got the big brother's cells, is actually a hidden fool? Yes, when he thought that Uchiha Madara might take old jokes seriously in the future, Senju Tobirama couldn't help but shudder. The power of the combination of two cells is really terrifying. Scorpion's main body puppet is actually quite powerful. He first used the physical fire escape fire spray and the physical water escape high pressure water gun, but was blown up by Sakura's extreme 1-for-1 exchange. It doesn't matter if he is blown up. As long as Scorpion's core is not dead, he will not die suddenly. Since the puppet of the third Hokage was hammered and the iron sand was ineffective, Kyo was able to continue using the mechanical hand and the parent puppets. Kyo, who had recovered a little bit of her vitality, also took out the white secret technique of the first puppet master, Monzaemon, the 10 people at the Niomatsu. And Scorpion was not to be outdone, and used his own red secret technique, the 100 machine manipulation. 10 against 100, the scene can be said to be quite chaotic. Scorpion can control so many puppets at once. Looking at Scorpion's 100 machine manipulation on the light screen, the third Hokage was very surprised. He could understand Kyo's ability to control the 10 people at the Niomatsu. After all, people have 10 fingers, and one finger can control one puppet. Although it is difficult, with Kyo's ability, it should not be a problem. Scorpion is outrageous here. 100 puppets, even if they cannot be controlled accurately, are outrageous enough. I can only say that Scorpion is indeed a genius puppeteer. In terms of puppetry alone, he has surpassed Kyo, and perhaps even the first puppeteer Monzaemon. He has surpassed Kyo for sure. People today are not necessarily inferior to the ancients. His one-person puppetry skills alone are enough to make Scorpion go down in history. I just don't know how Kyo and Sakura defeated Scorpion when the number of puppets was so different. Touching his chin, the 5th generation Jiraiya's judgment was similar to that of Senju Hashirama, believing that Scorpion had an absolute advantage. No matter how you look at it, Scorpion's chance of winning is much higher than Kyo and Sakura. Didn't it say on the light screen? Scorpion will let us win. Looking at Orochimaru who was talking, Jiraiya pointed at the light screen and replied angrily, "You call such a fierce battle letting us win? What else?" Orochimaru shrugged and continued. When Scorpion was controlling the third Hokage puppet, he didn't use the flexible and efficient sand iron Shiga, but had to make a bunch of clumsy sand iron geometric bodies. Isn't this letting us win? Well, what you said seems to make some sense. Jiraiya thought about it and found that what Orochimaru said did make some sense. He gave up using the sand iron Shiga that could attack on a large scale and turned to using clumsy sand iron geometric bodies, and was beaten by Sakura's strange strength learned from Tsunade. If he said he didn't let us win, no one would believe it. What about here? 100 against 10. You can't let them win again, right? Ha, with your intelligence, it's hard for me to explain to you. Orochimaru, I see you don't want the research funding. Ha, the wisdom of a mortal, do you think this can scare me? What else? Orochimaru was silent for a while, and finally smiled and replied, "You're really good at judging people. Stop talking nonsense, speak quickly." Okay, even though Scorpion is 100 against 10 now, we all know that in the duel between puppeteers, the number of puppets is only an advantage, not a winning advantage. The puppeteer's ultimate competition is still the control of his own puppets. That's right, continue. I don't know how Scorpion controls these 100 puppets, but I know that his control over the puppets is definitely not as strong as Kyo's. In addition, Kyo has Sakura, who has superpowers, to assist her. Even if they can't win, they won't lose in a short time. Things are just as Orochimaru said. On the light screen, Kyo controlled the 10 people and resisted the attack of Scorpion's 100 puppets. The 10 puppets of the People's Clan fought 1 against 10. Kyo controlled 3 puppets to use the 3 treasures absorption technique and knock down several of Scorpion's puppets. However, she was overwhelmed by Scorpion's human wave tactics a little later and died suddenly. Then Scorpion began to get serious and used concentrated attacks to defeat Kyo's 10 puppets one by one. At this time, Kyo sealed a puppet to Sakura, hoping to win the battle with it. As expected, Sakura successfully threw and sealed Scorpion. However, Scorpion still escaped by moving its claw. Scorpion found a fallen puppet to possess, raised his knife, and prepared to take Kyo offline temporarily, but Sakura blocked the attack with her own body. Jiraiya. Is this what you said? Scorpion will let you in. Orochimaru. Don't worry, just keep watching and you'll know. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like, Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.